Chapter 232. The misty hall of the Inua Palace of the Tung Long continent occupies an extremely large area. In addition to the main hall in the center, there were also dozens of small palaces around it. They were intertwined with each other and contained a mysterious array. Ever since the order of the Devil World's Devil Emperor was passed down, the experts of various Zayamois sects have gathered in the Inua Palace. Some extremely formidable loose devils have hurried back from the chaotic astral ocean. Because the journey is long, it will take some time for them to get back. At this moment, in Dame Lian Yu's residence, Big Brother Wu Hei, with you helping us, at least this heaven-sundering diagram of mine will be taken away by others. Dame Lian Yu said to a black-clothed man sitting next to her. Wu Hei's face was like a rock sculpture, and the curves of his muscles were almost perfect. He exuded an aura of absolute power. This was Wu Hei, a lone loose devil, a giant of the demonic path. Sister Lian Yu, don't worry about this heaven-sundering diagram. No matter who comes, they won't be able to take it away. Oh right, in a few days, will the messenger of the devil world be like you said? Wu Hei seemed to be very concerned about this matter. Right. Dame Lian Yu nods and says, Big Brother Wu Hei, I didn't even tell my sect about this. This in I Yang's realm was of great importance. Not only were there Devil Emperor-level experts, even the various great Emperor-level experts of the Immortal Realm and the Demon Realm were vainly trying to obtain it. Therefore we can't do it by ourselves. It won't be long before the Demonic Realm emissary passes through the spatial barrier and arrives at the mortal world. Wu Hei's eyes lit up and he nodded slightly. Dame Lian Yu says doubtfully, Big Brother Wu Hei, there's something I don't know whether I should ask or not. Ask away, Wu Hei said heroically. Dame Lian Yu speaks out the doubts in her heart. Big Brother Wu Hei, I've discovered that you seem to attach great importance to the descent of the Devil World's emissary. I wonder what's the reason? Wu Hei smiled. Haha, Lian Yu, I won't answer this question for the time being. Let me ask you, did that Wu Kongxue also agree to help you this time? Wu Hei asked in reply. Yes, how did you know? Dame Lian Yu was astonished. Wu Hei had just arrived at the Misty Hall not long ago, and Dame Lian Yu had not had the time to tell him about this matter. Haha, of course I know. Because Wu Kongxue and I have both come to help you for the same reason. Wu Hei said with a mysterious smile. Dame Lian Yu was astonished. Both Wu Hei and Wu Kongxue are loose devils with the nature of lone rangers. Even though the Devil Realm emissary had ordered Wu Hei and Wu Kongxue not to serve him, they still came. Dame Lian Yu had always been puzzled. Now it seems that it was for the same reason. I can't tell you this secret for the time being, but I can tell you a secret as compensation. Wu Hei said solemnly to Dame Lian Yu. Tell her another secret as compensation? Dame Lian Yu listened attentively. Sister Lian Yu, let me tell you something. Nowadays, the Zayamoists on the Tung Long continent use the most basic Zayamoist techniques. They belong to the basic nature of Zayamoists. There are 3 kinds of real Zayamoist techniques. Wu Hei pretends to be mysterious. Dame Lian Yu was startled. Are the techniques of the current devil cultivators the most basic? Big Brother Wu Hei, what do you mean by that? Dame Lian Yu is shocked. Wu Hei says with an indifferent smile. You're also an 11th tribulation loose devil. When you ascend to the devil world, you'll also know. In the devil world, there were only 3 types of truly powerful devil Dao cultivation methods. One was the Black Devil Path, the other was the Blood Devil Path, and the last was the Azura Devil Path. I practiced the first one, Wu Kongxue practiced the second one. The second and third masters of the Devil Peng Island practiced the third one. Dame Lian Yu is startled. For a while, she is unable to say anything. It turns out, all the Zayamoists on the Tung Long continent practice the most basic Zayamoists. The 3 powerful Devil Dao cultivation methods are the other 3. No wonder, no wonder. Dame Lian Yu murmurs. No wonder Big Brother Wu Hei, Wu Kongxue, and the second and third masters of the Devil Peng Island are so powerful. They're much more powerful than experts of the same level. Wu Hei, Wu Kongxue, and the Devil Peng Island's twin Azura devils are all giants of the Devil Dao. Many people find it strange that other loose devils of the same level are not so powerful. But these several people are so powerful, much more powerful than experts of the same level. Only now do they know that Wu Hei, Wu Kongxue, and the others practiced the three most powerful devil Dao cultivation methods. Wu Kongxue and I both came here because of the devil Dao cultivation methods. Haha, I won't say any more. If I do, I won't have any more secrets. Haha, Wu Hei says with a clear laugh. Dame Lianyu stands up and says smilingly, Big brother Wu Hei, I'm already very grateful to you for telling me these things. How can I be greedy? Big brother Wu Hei, my Lianyu hall is pretty big. You live in the west room. Is that okay? Wu Hei nods. Dame Lianyu had no choice but to ask Wu Hei to live in her place. After all, the heaven sundering diagram is in this Lianyu hall. The defense of this place must be at its maximum. These past few days, Dame Lianyu has been worried that the Xiaotianists or the Dragon Clan will come to snatch it. Now that Wu Hei has come, Dame Lianyu can relax a bit. Wu Hei's power is still extremely strong. 3 silhouettes slowly descend from the sky. Their surroundings are blurry. Obviously they have used some kind of invisibility spell. Reverend Lan Bing, junior brother, things are a bit bad. That Wu Hei has come. Reverend Ming Liang slightly frowns and says via his immortal sense at the same time. Reverend Ming Liang is a 12th tribulation loose immortal. With a sweep of his immortal sense, he discovers Wu Hei's appearance. Wu Hei's appearance is a variable. As soon as Reverend Lan Bing and Reverend Ming Shan hear this, their faces change color. It's true that Wu Hei is an 11th tribulation loose devil, but he is not an ordinary 11th tribulation loose devil. Luckily, Reverend Ming Liang also has a special skill. Against Wu Kongxue, I have a 50% chance of winning. Against this Wu Hei, I have absolute confidence. But if he wants to escape, it'll be very hard for me to stop him. Well, junior brother, Reverend Lan Bing, I'll have to trouble you two to pin down this Wu Hei. I'll kill Lianyu in one stroke. Reverend Ming Liang entrusts them solemnly. I don't ask you to do anything to Wu Hei. I only need you to pin him down, just pin him down, so that he won't disturb me. Are you sure? Reverend Ming Liang looks at the two of them, waiting for their answers. Ming Shan says smilingly, Don't worry, senior brother. Even though that Wu Hei is formidable, and Reverend Lan Bing and I aren't necessarily a match for him, even if we join hands, we're still sure to pin him down. Reverend Ming Shan and Reverend Lan Bing have an extremely good relationship. In the chaotic astral ocean, the two of them often join hands, so they also have their own tricks. Very good. This battle must be finished quickly. That illusionary formation outside the Misty Hall can't be considered formidable. Given the power of the three of us, it won't be hard for us to break into it. But there are some loose devils living in the various small palaces inside the Misty Hall. The weakest among them is an 8th tribulation loose devil. Therefore, if we don't succeed at the beginning, those 8th and 9th tribulation loose devils will surround us, and it'll be even harder for us to succeed. Reverend Ming Liang says the main point. The battle must be finished quickly. Once there is a deadlock, this is the headquarters of Xiaomoists, so it will be advantageous for the Xioma side. Reverend Ming Shan and Reverend Lan Bing nod. All right, let's go. In an instant, 3 beams of light pierce through the illusionary formation outside the Misty Hall, then easily float into the Lianyu Hall like blue smoke. In the Lianyu Hall, Dame Lianyu lives in the east room, and Wu Hei lives in the west room. Reverend Ming Liang directly rushes into the east room, while Reverend Ming Shan and Reverend Lan Bing, holding immortal swords, stand outside the door of the west room, and do not take the initiative to attack. Dame Lianyu, who is sitting cross-legged on the bed, suddenly opens her eyes. A purple feather fan appears in her hand. A purple brilliance flows from one side of the feather fan to the other. She sees that speck of starlight shooting towards her extremely fast. Ming Liang. Dame Lianyu's face changes color greatly. What she sees is not only that terrifying speck of starlight, but also Reverend Ming Liang's ice-cold gaze. Immediately, boom! The earth quakes and the mountains shake. The Lianyu Hall unexpectedly explodes all of a sudden. This explosion occurs in the East Room, which is precisely the place where Dame Lianyu and Reverend Ming Liang are fighting. From the moment Reverend Ming Liang rushed into the East Room, this explosion occurred in just the blink of an eye. Get lost. A furious roar rises from the West Room. A 5 to 6 m tall giant man with bulging muscles and black chi all over his body soars into the sky. He raises a huge black axe high in his hand. It is precisely Wu Hei after using the Black Devil Path technique. His bravery is unstoppable. Reverend Lan Bing and Reverend Ming Shan simply do not dare to face this Wu Hei head-on. Speak, where is the inkwash painting? Reverend Ming Liang grabs a yuanying and uses his immortal sense to transmit his voice. This yuanying is precisely Dame Lian Yu's yuanying. At this moment, her power has been greatly damaged, and her yuanying also appears somewhat dried up. Dame Lian Yu's yuanying still has fear in her eyes. For the people of the Devil Realm, is it worth it? If you speak, I definitely won't kill you. If you don't speak, you'll definitely die. If you die, then everything will be for naught. Reverend Ming Liang still has an indifferent appearance, but his immortal sense transmission does not have the slightest bit of emotion. When he captured Dame Lian Yu, Reverend Ming Liang already knew that the inkwash painting was definitely not on her, because his immortal elemental energy had completely penetrated her yuanying. Even if I die, I won't speak. Dame Lian Yu smiles. How could she possibly have the heaven-sundering diagram on her? She believes that even if Reverend Ming Liang kills a large number of experts, he still won't be able to find the heaven-sundering diagram. Dame Lian Yu cannot speak. If she does, when the Devil Realm emissary arrives in the mortal world and sees that the heaven-sundering diagram has disappeared, he will definitely vent his anger on the Inua Palace. Moreover, even if she speaks, if she doesn't die now, the Devil Realm emissary will kill her. If she doesn't speak now, she will die. The Devil Realm emissary will instead reward the Inua Palace later. If you don't speak, very well. Reverend Ming Liang's eyes, which are as serene as a deep pool, flash with a swift and fierce brilliance. At this moment, the Berserk Wu Hei is charging straight at Reverend Ming Liang with an indomitable will. Everything that obstructs him will be destroyed without exception. When Reverend Ming Shan and Reverend Lan Bing encounter such a valiant character, they can't even pin him down. The sea is vast and boundless, but the seawater of the chaotic astral ocean unexpectedly also calmly rises and falls slowly. That dense Lingqi simply makes Qin Yu feel it hard to believe. Brother Qin Yu, that. Lian Chong points to a huge island in the distance in high spirits. Is my home, the Devil Pung Island. The Devil Pung Island is very large, almost as large as the Qianlong continent's 3 big dynasties put together. Of course, most of the Qianlong continent's area is the wilderness. The Devil Pung Island, Master. I've finally arrived at the legendary Devil Pung Island. The Black Qilan is obviously very excited. Originally, it was really too far away from the Devil Pung Island. Even with its power, it did not dare to cross such a long distance. Qin Yu takes a deep breath. The Devil Pung Island really deserves to be called. Qin Yu praises. Even though he is standing at a distance, Qin Yu can still clearly feel that huge aura. To Qin Yu, that huge aura is like a peerless ferocious beast to an ordinary mortal. The Devil Pung Island is divided into the outer area, the inner area and the core area. The outer area is for 6th tribulation and 7th tribulation loose devils. The inner area is for 8th tribulation and 9th tribulation experts. The core area is for 10th tribulation and higher. Lian Chong introduces casually. Of course, Lian Chong knows the Devil Pung Island very well. The core area is divided into 2 areas. One is my uncle's residence, Golden Wing Palace. The other is my parents' residence, Azura Palace. Brother Qin Yu, my uncle is proud and aloof by nature. He doesn't even think highly of ordinary 11th tribulation or 12th tribulation loose practitioners. It's very hard to say who he likes. So when you arrive at the core area, you'd better not enter the range of Golden Wing Palace without permission. Lian Chong says solemnly. Qin Yu knows Lian Chong means well, so he says with a nod, "Don't worry. I definitely won't go in without permission." Qin Yu, however, becomes curious about the owner of the Devil Pung Island in his heart. He's an invincible being in the legends. Even 12th tribulation experts are far from being his match. What kind of person is he? Qin Yu thinks to himself. Right at this moment, several hundred people fly out extremely fast from the inside of the Devil Pung Island in two groups and arrive in front of Qin Yu, Lian Chong and the others. Young master. The two black-clad middle-aged men at the head of the two groups say smilingly. Both of them are 11th tribulation experts. Where's my father and mother? Lian Chong looks into the distance. He doesn't believe that his parents won't come here extremely fast after he has come back from a life-and-death situation. The two black-clad middle-aged men at the head of the two groups both smile and look back. The man is handsome, and the woman is beautiful. A man and a woman, who look like they are in their 20s, fly extremely fast from the inside of the Devil Pung Island side by side. Seeing Lian Chong in the distance, their eyes naturally radiate pleasant surprise. Chong father, mother. Lian Chong's eyes unexpectedly turn red. He rushes directly into his parents' arms and hugs them tightly. Chapter 233. This must be my son's savior, little brother Qin Yu. The beautiful woman with a hint of heroic spirit stares at Qin Yu and says with a smile. Qin Yu knows that the woman in front of him is Lian Chong's mother, the second master of the Devil Pung Island, and the 12th tribulation loose devil Hui. Before arriving at the Devil Pung Island, Lian Chong introduced his parents in detail. When Qin Yu is about to say something, Lian Chong says, Mother, this is my good brother Qin Yu. I didn't tell him clearly when I sent him a message. You didn't know at that time, but when I was undergoing the loose devil tribulation, I had to exhaust all of my power to resist the 5 thunderbolts. At that time, I was already in despair. At the last moment, Brother Qin Yu appeared and gave me an eternal creation pill. Mother, you didn't know this, but that eternal creation pill's effect is astonishing. As soon as I swallowed it, my power was completely restored in a breath's time. The second master is Hui and the third master is Lian Xiao. When the husband and wife communicated with Lian Chong through their transmitters, they only knew that a man called Qin Yu had saved their son. As for the details, they did not mention it in their transmitters. They wanted to wait until they met each other to talk about it in detail. Chong hearing what Lian Chong said, Hui and Lian Xiao cannot help feeling a burst of lingering fear. Obviously, if Qin Yu had been a bit later, their son would have been gone when the 6th bolt of sky thunder struck. Little brother Qin Yu, you saved my son and spent such a precious pill as the eternal creation pill. My wife and I really can't repay your kindness. Little brother Qin Yu, please come to my Azura Palace to rest first, and let Chong accompany you. Tomorrow, my wife and I will definitely repay you handsomely. Hui says solemnly, spending an eternal creation pill comparable to a spirit tribulation pill to save her son's life. How great of a kindness is this? The third master Lian Xiao smiles at his wife. In fact, the reason why the two of them came out this time was to prepare gifts to thank Qin Yu. But now they really cannot bring them out. The eternal creation pill can restore all power in one breath. Such a pill is tantamount to a second life when undergoing the tribulation. How precious was this? Just think about how Lianyan Island treated the tribulation spirit pill with the same effect so seriously. Although the gift prepared by the couple was very precious, there was still a gap when compared to the eternal creation pill. With their status, they naturally wouldn't give Qin Yu a gift that couldn't compare to the eternal creation pill. Brother Qin Yu, let's go. Follow me. I'll show you around the Devil Pung Island. Lian Chong was about to bring Qin Yu in. Wait, where did this Qilin come from? How can Devil Pung Island be a place where you can enter as you please? One of the leaders of the two groups of people who welcomed Lian Chong shouted at the Ink Qilin. Uncle Ya, that's my brother Qin Yu's holy beast. Lian Chong appears to be somewhat annoyed. Spirit beast? Hui and Lian Xiao were both shocked. Spirit beasts were not precious in the immortal and devil world, but they were almost impossible to find in the mortal world. That's because spirit beast collars are too rare. Father, mother, this spirit beast was tamed by my brother Qin Yu with great difficulty. Of course, that's because he had a spirit beast collar. Otherwise, no matter how powerful he was, he wouldn't have been able to tame a spirit beast. Lian Chong explained. Spirit beast collar. Hu Yi and Lian Xiao looked at Qin Yu in a different light. Eternal creation pill, spirit beast collar. Even in the chaotic astral ocean, there weren't many people who could take them out. However, Qin Yu, a youngster who hadn't even reached the Desheng stage, had them. This made people doubt his background. Okay, brother Qin Yu, let's go. I'll take you to Devil Pung Island to have a good look. Lian Chong said and flew directly into the Devil Pung Island with Qin Yu. Hu Yi and Lian Chong stood side by side in the air. Looking at Qin Yu and their son, their eyes flashed with an indescribable light. Madam, it seems, this little brother Qin Yu has a lot of secrets. Lian Chong said with a smile. Hui nodded and muttered. This Qin Yu is really mysterious. Especially when he saw the two of us at the beginning, he didn't show any fear or surprise. Who is Hui? She is a 12th tribulation loose devil, the second master of the Devil Pung Island. Generally, even 5th or 6th tribulation loose immortals and loose devils would tremble with fear when they see Hu Yi. However, Qin Yu seemed to have seen an ordinary person. Husband, don't think too much. Now we have to think carefully about what gift to give to Qin Yu. The eternal creation pill is a precious treasure equivalent to a second life. He also saved my son's life. What should we give him to thank him? Hui also became distressed. Even as the second master of the Devil Pung Island, at the moment she is also distressed about this matter. After all, the other party spent an eternal creation pill to save her son. The third master, Lian Xiao, also frowned. What gift should they give to Qin Yu? At the moment, Qin Yu and Lian Chong are strolling around the Devil Pung Island. The Devil Pung Island is extremely large, comparable to the total size of the 3 dynasties of the Qianlong continent. However, its population is only more than 3,000 people. Therefore, the population density is extremely low. There are palaces, bewildering formations, illusory formations, killing formations, absolute formations, small bridges, flowing water, jade palaces, pavilions and terraces. The loose practitioners of the Devil Pung Island are at least 6th tribulation experts. Given their power, they can excavate huge stones to build palaces and immortals' caves with a wave of their hands. In the outer area of the Devil Pung Island, there are various styles of immortals' caves and palaces. There are also some peculiar formations. This is the outer area of the Devil Pung Island. However, the inner area is different. Apart from a large formation as a whole, there are no other formations in the inner area. It is like a paradise. After stepping into the core area of the Devil Pung Island, Qin Yu feels an astonishing amount of elemental holy energy. Haha, do you feel something peculiar? Brother Qin Yu, the core area of the Devil Pung Island is a lode of elemental holy rock. In the mortal world, only the chaotic astral ocean has elemental holy rock. The biggest lode is in the core area of the Devil Pung Island. This is also the reason why my big uncle used this place as his residence. Lian Chong says proudly. Qin Yu's eyes brighten. He begins to ponder. A lode of elemental holy rock? Then does that mean there should be top-grade elemental holy rock here? Qin Yu's heart begins to heat up. I have a sword immortal puppet. It's just that it has to consume top-grade elemental holy rock. Even top-grade elemental holy rock won't work. But the sword immortal puppet is also very powerful. With 1 piece, I'll be a level 1 golden immortal. With 2 pieces, I'll be able to exert the power of a level 2 golden immortal. At this moment, Qin Yu begins to celebrate that he has stepped into the Devil Pung Island. Brother Lian Chong, how big is this lode of elemental holy rock? Qin Yu asks. Lian Chong thinks for a while and says, You see, the core area of the Devil Pung Island is only several hundred li in circumference. But this lode of elemental holy rock is only several tens li in circumference. Qin Yu is startled. Aren't you very shocked? Lian Chong says proudly. There are only a few lodes in the chaotic astral ocean. This is the biggest one. The smallest one is only a few li in circumference. Qin Yu smiles bitterly in his heart. The biggest one? How big is the Qing Yu Immortal Mansion? It is several tens of kilometers in both length and width. Just the Qing Yu Immortal Mansion alone is as big as this lode. Moreover, the Qing Yu Immortal Mansion is only a huge elemental holy, or from that huge lode of elemental holy rock. When Qin Yu was on the second floor of the treasure-storing tower of the Nine Swords Immortal Mansion, he obtained a lot of books and jade slips. Qin Yu understands one thing. In the immortal world, ordinary lodes of elemental holy rock are several hundred li in circumference, even thousands or tens of thousands of li in circumference. In the immortal world, a lode with a circumference of several tens of li can only be regarded as a tiny dot, not worth mentioning at all. However, a tiny lode of elemental holy rock that is not worth mentioning in the immortal world is known as the number 1 lode of elemental holy rock in the mortal world. The smaller the lode, the less elemental holy rock that can be mined. At the same time, the higher the grade of elemental holy rock will be lower. Qin Yu knows this very well in his heart. He immediately asks Lian Chong, "Brother Lian Chong, has top-grade elemental holy rock ever been mined from this lode?" "Top-grade?" Lian Chong opens his eyes wide. "Brother Qin Yu, do you know that even a single piece of low-grade elemental holy rock is extremely precious to a loose practitioner? A middle-grade elemental holy rock is equal to 100 low-grade elemental holy rock. A high-grade elemental holy rock is equal to 100 middle-grade elemental holy rock, and a top-grade elemental holy rock is equal to 100 high-grade elemental holy rock. Do you know the meaning of a top-grade elemental holy rock?" Lian Chong almost shouts at Qin Yu. Qin Yu certainly knows the preciousness of top-grade elemental holy rock. Generally, small lodes of elemental holy rock that are only several tens of li in circumference may not even be able to mine top-grade elemental holy rock. Of course, there is also a possibility that it can be mined. According to the introduction in the books of the immortal world that Qin Yu obtained, generally, small lodes of elemental holy rock that are 100 li in circumference may be mined. Lodes of elemental holy rock that are 1,000 li in circumference may be mined from 10-odd top-grade elemental holy rock, or even several tens of them. As for lodes of elemental holy rock that are 10,000 li in circumference, they may contain elemental holy essence. Elemental holy essence is equal to 100 top-grade elemental holy rock. From this, one can imagine how rare it is to carve such a huge elemental holy rock into Qin Yu Immortal Mansion. It is also extremely precious in the immortal world. I know the meaning of top-grade elemental holy rock. I just want to ask if top-grade elemental holy rock has ever been mined. Qin Yu asks. Lian Chong thinks for a while. Well, it has been mined. It's been several thousand years. I once saw Big Uncle take out a top-grade elemental holy rock and show it to me. But afterwards he never showed it to me again. I don't know where he put it. Qin Yu's eyes brighten. That's good. In Qin Yu's Qin Yu Immortal Mansion, those rockery, fountains, buildings and storehouses all have a large amount of elemental holy rock. There are even quite a lot of high-grade elemental holy rock. But there is no top-grade elemental holy rock. He can use a large amount of high-grade elemental holy rock to exchange for it. Or he can use spiritual beast collars and middle-grade immortal weapons to exchange for it. Or he can use eternal creation pills to exchange for it. In Azura Palace and Golden Wing Palace face each other across a lake. Both of them have been built extremely large. At the moment, Qin Yu has been placed in an elegant 2-story pavilion inside Azura Palace. In the hall on the first floor of the small pavilion, Lian Chong has just rushed over and says excitedly to Qin Yu, "Haha, brother Qin Yu, good news. My big uncle is very curious about you. He asked me to take you to Golden Wing Palace to see him tomorrow." Lian Chong says excitedly, "The master of the Devil Pung Island?" Qin Yu asks in reply. Lian Chong nods his head. His expression becomes serious again. "Brother Qin Yu, before you go, there's something I have to warn you about. My big uncle is very proud and aloof. If you annoy him, even I won't be able to save you." Qin Yu knows that most experts have their own specialties. Remember, when you see my big uncle, don't call him Island Master. Call him Senior Zong. Lian Chong says sonorously. Senior Zong. Qin Yu is doubtful. That's right. My big uncle doesn't like other people calling him Island Master. His name is Zong Ju. If you call him Senior Zong, he'll be very happy. This is the first point. Lian Chong instructs carefully. Yu gives a forced smile in his heart. This is only the first point. Looks like the master of the Devil Pung Island is really eccentric. The second point is, don't be too humble. My big uncle hates servile people the most. Lien Chong says again. Interesting, interesting. Your big uncle is really interesting. Yu bursts out laughing. Suddenly he feels that this legendary invincible expert is really peculiar. Lien Chong says mysteriously. Hey brother Yu, do you know why this island is called the Devil Pung Island? Why? Hey, the Devil Pung Island. The word Mo is related to my parents. And the word Pung is related to my big uncle's original body, a super divine beast, Golden Winged Giant Pung. Lien Chong's eyes brighten. Golden Winged Giant Pung, a super divine beast? There's a super divine beast? Yu has always been very puzzled about the ranks of divine beasts. For example, he knows that black dragons are more powerful than azure dragons. But what's the difference between divine beasts? Ha, brother Yu, you don't even know the ranks of divine beasts. Then I'll tell you clearly. Divine beasts are divided into 4 ranks. Lien Chong says everything he knows. As for Yu, he was listening carefully. For example, the dragon clan's azure dragons, red dragons, blue dragons, and the vast majority of other divine beasts are all low-level divine beasts. They account for 90% of the divine beasts. Black dragons, silver dragons, 3 blue-eyed toads, dragon rocky lions, fiery rocky lions, Jichu 9-headed snakes and so on are all middle-level divine beasts. Golden dragons, heavenly rats, and so on are high-level divine beasts. High-level divine beasts can already be considered extremely rare and precious. They have inherited memories and are extremely powerful. Lien Chong takes a deep breath. Finally, there's the rarest super divine beasts. Yu's attention is completely focused on this. Divine beasts are divided into birds, beasts, and scaly beasts. Among them, there are golden winged giant pung, phoenix, and there seem to be 2 or 3 other kinds. But Big Uncle didn't tell me. Hearing this, Yu understands that the master of the Devil Pung Island told Lien Chong all this knowledge about divine beasts. Among the scaly beasts, there's only one super divine beast, the 5-clawed golden dragon of the dragon clan. I'm very sure about this. Lien Chong says smilingly. Finally, there's the beasts on the ground. There are quite a few super divine beasts on the ground. I only know one fire qilin. Fire qilins are the same as phoenixes. They're both born naturally from flames. Chapter 234. In the early morning of the next day, the lake between Shura Palace and Golden Wing Palace is still misty. Yu follows Lien Chong to Golden Wing Palace. The roof tiles of the Golden Wing Palace were golden in color. Other than that, the walls were thick and heavy black in color. Even before entering the Golden Wing Palace, Yu already felt a chilly sensation engulfing his entire body. At the moment, Lien Chong also appears to be much more steady and serious. Big brother Lien Chong, master is already waiting for you in the back hall. A young man in gray with fierce eyes walks out from the main hall of Golden Wing Palace. The feeling his eyes give Yu is like Xiaohei's eyes. Lien Chong nods then says to Yu, Brother Yu, come with me. Yu follows Lien Chong into Golden Wing Palace. The main hall of Golden Wing Palace is completely black. Only the pillars are bronze. It is very natural for people who enter to feel as if their hearts are being pressed down by a mountain. It is so heavy. After passing through the main hall, they arrive at the back hall. The back hall is decorated differently from the main hall. It is mainly mahogany and gold. All kinds of chairs are dark red, and there are also some gold carvings. There is still a sense of steadiness, but it seems to be a bit more relaxed. He is wearing a moon-white silk robe. His long hair hangs softly over his shoulders. His eyes are very deep. Uncle, Lien Chong says respectfully. Is the person in front of him Zhongju? Yu carefully observes the person in front of him. From Lien Chong, Yu knows that Zhongju's true body is a golden-winged rock. Golden-winged rocks have very terrifying ferocity. Originally Yu thought Zhongju's momentum should be very fierce. At least his eyes should be as fierce as Xiaohei's. Who would have thought it would be completely different from what he expected? On the contrary, Zhongju's temperament is a bit like Uncle Lan's. Yes, it is Uncle Lon. The feeling Uncle Lon gives Qinyu is that he does not give off the slightest pressure. It is like a spring breeze brushing his face, or a drizzle touching his skin. It is very comfortable. It is very natural. Zhongju, on the other hand, had a sense of pressure in his steadiness, the pressure of an invincible master. Senior Zhong. Qinyu also bowed. Zhongju looked at Qinyu carefully and nodded. Little brother Qinyu's cultivation method is indeed strange and mysterious. It seems your master is not simple. All right, please take a seat. Sect. His cultivation method was indeed unique and mysterious. Qinyu calmly sat down with Lian Chong. Chong, it was little brother Qinyu who saved you this time, right? I'm very curious. Given your situation back then, even I wouldn't have been able to save you, unless I had the tribulation spirit pill. And I heard second sister and the others say that little brother Qin, you seems to have the eternal creation pill. Zhongju looked at Qinyu, his gaze like water. The eternal creation pill can completely restore one's power in the time of a breath. Its effect is even much better than that of the tribulation spirit pill. After swallowing the tribulation spirit pill, one's power will gradually recover. The time it takes should be slightly longer than that of your eternal creation pill. Little brother Qinyu, I'm very curious. Given my relationship with Lianyan Island Master, I know how hard it is to make the tribulation spirit pill, and how rare the materials are. And when making it, the true fire in one's body must be at least a heaven fire. Little brother Qinyu's power is not yet at the Deshang stage, so I'm afraid the true fire in your body is not a heaven fire. Then, this pill should have been made by a senior in your school. But why has this eternal creation pill never been famous for countless years? I hope little brother can clear up my confusion. Zhongju said with a smile. Generally, only those who have reached the immortal, devil or demon stage can have true fire. But is it always so? Xiuxian, demonic and demon cultivators are all like this. But Qinyu is different. Qinyu did not say anything. He only stretched out his hand, and a purple flame floated in Qinyu's palm. His actions speak for themselves. Zhongju laughed out loud. I didn't expect that I would make a fool of myself today. Haha. I didn't expect little brother's true fire to have reached the heaven fire level. Could it be that little brother's actions mean that this eternal creation pill was made by you? Qinyu felt helpless. Eternal creation pill? However, any foundation building pill or jade green pill used for healing, or any of these most basic pills, would be fused with the miraculous elemental life force in Qinyu's body to form the eternal creation pill. Wasn't this made by Qinyu? But generally speaking, pills at the level of the eternal creation pill were very difficult to make. It was almost impossible for an expert at Qinyu's level to make it. Of course, the first restriction was the heaven fire. Senior Zhong, this medicinal pill was indeed made by this junior personally. It's just that this medicinal pill's secret recipe and concoction method were told to me by this junior's uncle. At the moment, Qinyu can only push the responsibility of that miraculous concoction method to Uncle Lon. To say that it was made by himself is really too shocking. Uncle? Zhongju's eyes brightened. Chong, you go back first. I have something to discuss with little brother Qinyu. Zhongju suddenly said to Lian Chong. Could it be that his uncle wants the refining method of the eternal creation pill? Lian Chong was shocked. Between the eternal creation pill and the refining method of the eternal creation pill, which one is more precious? As long as there is nothing wrong with your brain, you will know the answer. Once he had the method to refine the eternal creation pill, he would be able to refine one pill after another. No matter what, I can't let little brother Qinyu's refining method be taken away by force. Lian Chong was very grateful to Qinyu. He did not want to make things difficult for Qinyu. Lian Chong looked at Qinyu and then at Zhongju saying, Uncle, don't make things difficult for little brother Qinyu. This time he saved my life. Don't worry. How could your uncle be that kind of person? Zhongju said indifferently. Lian Chong's heart calmed down. His uncle always acts honorably. With his status, how could he do such a thing by force? It was his own imagination that was running wild. Uncle, I'll take my leave now. Lian Chong smiled at Qinyu then immediately left the back hall. Only Qinyu and Zhongju were left in the back hall. Qinyu looked at Zhongju. This is the absolute number one figure in the chaotic astral ocean, an invincible legendary expert. Why did he want to talk to him alone? Zhongju said with a smile. Little brother Qinyu, I don't have any other intentions by talking to you alone. I just want to know one thing. The uncle little brother Qinyu mentioned, is he Senior Lan? Zhongju's eyes instantly became fierce as he stared at Qinyu. Did you say Uncle Lan? Qinyu was startled. You also know Uncle Lan? Ha ha! As I expected, apart from Senior Lan, I really couldn't think of anyone who could create such a technique, to let a Dujia stage person have a heavenly flame. Moreover, he also created such a technique as the Eternal Fortune Pill. If it's Senior Lan, then I'm not the least bit surprised. Zhongju said with a clear laugh. Qinyu suddenly felt that the Zhongju in front of him no longer gave him pressure like a moment ago. On the contrary, he was a lot closer to him. Everything was because of Uncle Lan. Senior Zhong, that's not the case. This martial technique that I'm training in was created by my master. It was not created by Uncle Lan. Qinyu said seriously, although his master Lei Wei was only at the middle Dujia stage when he died. But this technique was created by him after all. Zhongju was startled. He immediately burst into laughter and said, There's no difference. Since he's your master, he should also be related to Senior Lan. They're both reclusive experts. Qinyu wanted to say that his master's power was far inferior to Uncle Lan's. But Qinyu didn't say much. Let Zhongju think so. Fate. I really didn't expect that your uncle was Senior Lan. Zhongju's face was full of smiles. Ever since Zhongju knew about the relationship between Qinyu and Uncle Lan, his attitude towards Qinyu changed greatly. He became very cordial. Even Lian Chong found it strange. Why would his arrogant uncle take such special care of Qinyu? How would Lian Chong know about the relationship between Uncle Lan and Zhongju? Even Qinyu didn't know about the relationship between Uncle Lan and Zhongju. Zhongju called him Senior Lan. What's the relationship between the two of them? Second Island Master Hu Yi and Third Island Master Lian Shao originally said that they would give Qinyu treasures as thanks on the second day he arrived at Devil Pung Island. However, even after a few days, the Second Island Master Hu Yi and the Third Island Master Lian Shao did not appear. One day, in the middle of the lake between Golden Wing Palace and Azura Palace, there was a pavilion. This pavilion was alone in the middle of the lake, and there was no passage leading to it. As for Qinyu, he stepped into the air and flew over. He directly arrived at the pavilion. Sitting in the pavilion, feeling the energy of the sun's core in his body being refined and purified, Qinyu felt that he could reach the middle stage of passing calamity in another 10 days to half a month. Once he reaches the middle stage of passing calamity, the 9 from 9th Heaven Tribulation will follow. 9 from 9th Heaven Tribulation, can I successfully pass it? Even the 5-clawed golden dragon and Senior Zhongju failed. On the contrary, the Azure Dragon of the Dragon Clan and some ordinary self-cultivators succeeded. 9 from 9th Heaven Tribulation, I really don't have the slightest confidence. Qinyu let out a long sigh. 9 from 9th Heaven Tribulation, the stronger the power, the higher the talent. The more terrifying the power of the 9 from 9th Heaven Tribulation is. The 5-clawed golden dragon and the golden-winged roc are both super divine beasts, but they didn't succeed in passing the 9 from 9th Heaven Tribulation. On the contrary, the 3 Azure Dragons of the Dragon Clan and many ordinary self-cultivators all succeeded in passing the 9 from 9th Heaven Tribulation. When a self-cultivator reaches the middle stage of passing calamity, they will have to face their own 9 from 9th Heaven Tribulation. Even though they are both 9 from 9th Heaven Tribulations, the power of each is as different as heaven and earth. Who dares to say who can pass it steadily? No one dares to say. Qinyu ponders in his heart. While the sun's core in his dantian is being refined and purified, the Azura Palace family of 3 is distressed together. No. Although these Lingji mushrooms are precious, they are nothing compared to the Eternal Creation Pill. Elemental Holy Rock? Elemental Holy Rock is okay. But father, mother, You only have so much elemental holy rock. Are you willing to part with it? Lian Cheng says to his parents. Lian Xiao and Hui have been distressed over this gift for several days. No matter what the gift is, they feel that it cannot compare to their son's life plus the eternal creation pill. Elemental holy rock. What harm is there in giving these two high-grade elemental holy rock to little brother Qin Yu? As long as he is satisfied, your mother and I will at least have peace of mind. Lian Xiao says seriously. Zayationists do not like to owe people favors, which has a great impact on the cultivation of the mind. Lian Cheng says with a shake of his head. Father, mother, don't forget that brother Qin Yu is not a loose immortal, loose devil or loose demon. He is only a passing calamity stage Zayationist. He simply cannot use elemental holy rock. Giving him elemental holy rock is of no use at all. Lian Xiao and Hui are startled. They immediately smile bitterly. Right. Qin Yu is not a loose cultivator, nor is he a celestial immortal, celestial devil or celestial demon. He simply cannot absorb elemental holy rock's energy. If Qin Yu could absorb elemental holy rock's energy, he would have done so long ago. Why would he bother to go to the chaotic astral ocean to kill some ominous beasts? Madam, whatever you and I have collected for 10,000 years, Qin Yu can choose. We can even let him take all of it. How about this? Lian Xiao has been forced into a corner. Some of the ores and medicinal herbs in his possession are very precious, but they cannot compare with the eternal creation pill. Fine. Hui also agrees. The two of them are 11th tribulation and 12th tribulation loose devils. At this stage, they do not have much demand for external objects. What harm is there in giving all of them to Qin Yu? Moreover, as long as the Devil Peng Island exists, with their status, what kind of materials will they not be able to find? Lian Cheng ponders for a while then nods. Well, that's the only way. The three of them then head straight for Qin Yu's place. The treasures collected for 10,000 years by the two island masters of the Devil Peng Island are now ready for Qin Yu to choose. Chapter 235. In the pavilion at the center of the lake, Lian Xiao, Hui and Lian Cheng soar into the air and fly directly into the pavilion. Qin Yu, who is quietly pondering, raises his head and immediately stands up with a smile. Seniors, what's the matter? Qin Yu asks. In fact, Qin Yu has more or less guessed it in his mind. Little brother Qin Yu, you spent a precious eternal creation pill to save my son. My wife and I are endlessly grateful. But after being troubled for a few days, we really can't think of anything to express our gratitude. So, an interspatial ring flies out from Lian Zhao's finger. This is my interspatial ring. Inside it is my collection for 10,000 years. There are elemental holy stones, all kinds of precious medicinal herbs for refining medicines, and also some ores for refining weapons. Little brother Qin, you can choose as much as you want. Mine too. I've already removed the blood contract with this interspatial ring. You can take all of them. Hui says smilingly. The couple does not care about their collection for 10,000 years at all. Seniors, Qin Yu simply does not know what to say. He saved their son's life, so it is normal for them to give him gifts. But to take all of them out like this, he does not know what to do. Should he really take all of them like a gangster? Lian Cheng pats Qin Yu's shoulder and says smilingly, Little brother Qin Yu, don't hesitate to take them. Don't be so cautious. One of your eternal creation pills is equivalent to one life. Qin Yu gives a faint smile and receives the two interspatial rings. He sweeps them with his holy sense. Medicinal herbs for refining pills? There are a lot of immortal herbs in Ganoderma growing in the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. Those herbs have been growing for God knows how many years. Their medicinal effects are much more precious than those in the interspatial rings. Ores. Although there are not many ores in the Qingyu Immortal Mansion, they are much more numerous and of a higher grade than those in the interspatial rings. In the Immortal Mansion of Immortal Emperor in Aiyang, some random things are much more precious than these. The reason why Qin Yu took the interspatial rings is to see if there is a top-grade elemental holy stone. If he had a top-grade elemental holy, or, it meant that he could raise the strength of the sword immortal puppet by another level, reaching the strength of a level 2 golden immortal. A level 2 golden immortal sword immortal was so strong that even Zhongju would have a hard time defeating him. Thousands of low-grade elemental holy stones, dozens of mid-grade elemental holy stones, and 2 high-grade elemental holy stones. This is precious? Qinyu smiled bitterly in his heart. It seems that I still thought too highly of the Devil Peng Island's elemental holy stone mine. Qinyu had hundreds of high-grade elemental spirit stones. If someone had a top-grade elemental spirit stone, then he would be willing to exchange 100 high-grade elemental spirit stones for a top-grade elemental spirit stone. Unfortunately, in the mortal world, Qinyu still hadn't found anyone with a top-grade spirit essence stone. Perhaps Zhongju did. Qinyu handed 2 interspatial rings to Lian Xiao and Hu Yi, while holding a low-grade elemental spirit stone in his hand. Seniors, this low-grade elemental spirit stone is a gift from the 2 of you, Qinyu said with an indifferent smile. Little brother Qinyu, Lian Xiao and Hu Yi were stunned for a moment. Of course they knew what was in the interspatial rings, but Qinyu actually only chose a low-grade elemental holy stone. In the mortal world where elemental holy stone was extremely scarce, a low-grade elemental holy stone was considered precious. But compared to the eternal creation pill, it was simply incomparable. After all, the tribulation spiritual pill, with the same effect, was extremely precious to the Drifting Cloud Island's island master. Hui looked at Qinyu and suddenly felt a burst of emotion in her heart. Little brother Qinyu, are you afraid that we won't be at ease because we owe you a favor? So you took the lowest grade elemental holy stone? Hui asked rhetorically. A single low-grade elemental spirit stone was indeed dispensable to them. The reason why Qinyu did that was because he wanted the 2 of them to feel more at ease. If Qinyu had not taken anything, Hu Yi and Hu Yi would have been indebted to Qinyu for a long time. But Qinyu took it, only a low-grade elemental holy stone. A low-grade elemental holy stone as a reward is enough. But I want to ask one thing. Qinyu looked at Hu Yi and Lian Xiao and said. Lian Chong patted Qinyu on the shoulder and said, Good brother, just take a low-grade elemental holy stone. I admire you. Whatever you want to ask, just ask. We'll definitely answer. Hu Yi and Lian Xiao also nodded and looked at Qinyu. Qinyu said with a nod, Seniors, I need to do something now, and I need a top-grade elemental holy stone to do it. I don't know if there are any top-grade elemental holy stones here. Of course, I'll use my eternal creation pill to exchange for it. I still have a few eternal creation pills here. Qinyu did not make a large number of eternal creation pills. Firstly, Qinyu does not know whether the green light spots in Lu Xing's tears are endless or not. If they are limited, it will be terrible if they are all used up. Secondly, treasures. Once they are not rare, they are not treasures. Only a small number can increase the value of eternal creation pills. Top-grade elemental holy stone. Hui frowned and said slowly, If we had this top-grade elemental holy stone, we would not need little brother Qinyu to exchange for it at all. We would give it to you directly. It's just that we don't have it. Lian Xiao also frowned and said, Big brother has it, but it's unlikely that he'll take it out. Lian Chong retorted, Father, mother, big uncle is already at the 12th tribulation. Maybe he'll ascend to the demon world at some point. In the demon world, there will be more elemental holy stones than in the mortal world. Why would big uncle carry that top-grade elemental holy stone with him? What's more, I think big uncle treats brother Qinyu very well. Maybe he'll take it out. Qinyu understood in his heart that obviously only Zhongju has this top-grade elemental holy stone. Chong-er, you're right about one thing. A voice rose in everybody's ears. They saw Zhongju appear in the pavilion out of thin air. There are 4 seats on a stone table in the pavilion. I'm indeed a 12th tribulation loose demon. It won't be long before I ascend to the demon world. This top-grade elemental holy stone isn't very important to me, Zhongju said. Lian Chong said at once. Then big uncle should take it out. I can't take it out, Zhongju said with a shake of his head. Qinyu was startled, but he did not say anything. He quietly listened to Zhongju's explanation. You should know that the load of elemental holy stone in the core area of my Devil Pung Island is the biggest load of elemental holy stone in the entire chaotic astral ocean. And this top-grade elemental holy stone is the core of this load. Zhongju swept everybody with his eyes. Qinyu secretly nodded. A small load of elemental holy stone, that is only several tens of li in length, may not even have top-grade elemental holy stone. If there is a top-grade elemental holy stone, it is most probably the core. I took out that top-grade elemental holy stone once, but after taking it out, I found that the whole load had dried up. Then when I put it back, I found that the load was slowly producing some more elemental holy stone. Zhongju looked at Qinyu. Little brother Qinyu, this load of elemental holy stone is only a small load. In the demon world, there are so many loads, taking out a core and hollowing out a load is nothing. But this is the mortal world. There are too few loads of elemental holy stone. If you take away the core, the top-grade elemental holy stone, this load will be called a dead load. If you keep digging, it will dry up. Zhongju looked at Hui. Second sister, after so many years, have you ever seen the load of elemental holy stone on my Devil Pung Island decrease? Hui said with a shake of her head. No. Zhongju said with a nod. That's right. The amount of elemental holy stone I take out every year is equal to the amount of elemental holy stone that grows every year. This way, this load can be maintained forever. Qinyu understood Zhongju's meaning in his heart. Before I occupied this Devil Pung Island, there were seniors who occupied it. But none of those seniors dug out the top-grade elemental holy stone. It has been like this for millions of years. I don't want this load to be cut off because of me. Zhongju stared at Qinyu. Qinyu understood Zhongju's meaning in his heart, and said with a smile. Senior Zhong doesn't need to say anymore. This junior understands Senior Zhong's difficulties. Since this load can last for millions of years, then let it continue. At this moment, Qinyu's heart stirred. With a flip of his hand, a transmission talisman appeared in his hand. Big brother, the monkey and I have successfully passed the 9 from 9th heaven tribulation. Haha, we succeeded, we succeeded. Haha. Xiao Hei's voice came from the transmission talisman. At this moment, Xiao Hei was obviously very excited. Qinyu, who was a little regretful just now, suddenly became excited. Succeeded? You've both passed the 9 from 9th heaven tribulation. That's great, that's great. But Qinyu still had a trace of doubt in his heart. Even the 5-clawed golden dragon and the golden-winged Great Pung failed to pass the tribulation. Xiao Hei and Hou Fei should be at least high-class divine beasts. Passing the tribulation shouldn't have been so easy. Kaka, big brother, this time my mixed hairy bird was really in danger. Luckily, Uncle Lan's guidance was very effective. The mixed hairy bird, and I really succeeded in passing the tribulation. Hou Fei was also very excited at the moment. Only now did Qinyu understand that their success in passing the tribulation was actually related to Uncle Lan's guidance. Big brother, the monkey and I will come over right away. Where are you? Kuro asked anxiously. Qinyu and his 2 brothers were communicating through sound transmission. On the Tung-Long continent, the Xiamoists and Xiationists had already clashed. The time was delayed until Reverend Ming Liang questioned Dame Lianyu about the inkwash painting. In the misty hall of the Inua Palace, the Lianyu Hall had already exploded. Reverend Ming Liang was grabbing Dame Lianyu's Yuanying, while Wu Hei was furiously rushing towards Reverend Ming Shan and Reverend Lan Bing. You won't say? Very well. Reverend Ming Liang's deep and quiet eyes emitted a terrifying light. Stop! A loud roar resounded through the entire misty hall. Wu Hei rushed over extremely fast like a demon. If you take another step forward, she'll definitely die. Reverend Ming Liang's eyes regained their tranquility. He only gave Wu Hei a glance before Wu Hei suddenly stopped. Just now, Reverend Ming Liang's voice had already resounded in his mind. Reverend Ming Liang looked at Dame Lianyu and said through sound transmission, "Looks like you're really courting death. If you want to kill me, then kill me. Don't waste time." Dame Lianyu's Yuanying had a cold smile on her face. Then die. Reverend Ming Liang's right hand, which was grabbing Dame Lianyu, suddenly shone. Seeing this scene, Wu Hei became furious. Raising his huge black axe, he charged towards Reverend Ming Liang. Facing such a frighteningly powerful Wu Hei, Reverend Ming Liang only slightly pointed the finger of his left hand. A speck of light. In an instant, it filled Wu Hei's entire field of vision. At this moment, Wu Hei unexpectedly felt death. He hurriedly swung his huge black axe towards that speck of light. The moment the axe hit, Wu Hei felt his body shake violently. Unexpectedly, he could not help retreating several hundred meters and bumping into another palace. So strong. The loose devils from the other schools were all shocked in their hearts. There was no need to doubt Wu Hei's power. Just look at how he was able to suppress Reverend Ming Shan and Reverend Lan Bing. However, Reverend Ming Liang unexpectedly injured Wu Hei with just one finger. What kind of power was this? No wonder he was the spiritual leader of the Xiaxianists. Overconfident. If it was Wu Kongxue who came, I might have given him some face. But you're not qualified. Those thin lips indifferently said words that made Wu Hei so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. Reverend Ming Liang was in the center of the crowd of loose devils, but his Taoist robe was fluttering. His tranquil eyes obviously showed that he did not take the person in front of him seriously. Haha, Ming Liang, didn't you say that if Wu Kongxue came, you'd give him face? Now that I've come, you'd better let Lian Yu go. A kind of wild laughter rose. At the same time, blood-red clouds that blotted out the sky and covered the earth floated over. At that time in the Nine Swords Immortal Mansion, Dame Yanji risked her life only to use a few devil's bloody clouds. But Wu Kongxue only had to make an appearance, and there were thousands upon thousands of them. Moreover, Wu Kongshue's bloody clouds even had a strong smell of blood. Wu Kongxue. Reverend Ming Liang's right hand, that was about to kill, also stopped. He stared at that blood-red cloud in the sky. A red beam of light descended from the sky. In an instant, a silhouette appeared in the misty palace. This person was so handsome that he almost looked like a woman. To be exact, he was somewhat similar to Reverend Ming Liang. They had the same red lips, white teeth and jade-like skin. Only this Wu Kongshue's eyes were a terrifying blood-red color. He was wearing a blood-red robe, which looked like it had been dyed with blood. Long time no see, Ming Liang. Wu Kongxue, you're really lucky to have survived your fight with Hu Yi. Reverend Ming Liang said indifferently. Wu Kongxue gave a brilliant smile. When we were at the 11th tribulation, we were evenly matched. Now we're both at the 12th tribulation, but I still don't know what level your stellar art has reached, and whether it can withstand my blood devil path. Won't you know if you try? Reverend Ming Liang grabbed Dame Lian Yu's yuanying with his right hand. At the same time, his hand shone brightly again. Chapter 236. Seeing the scene of Reverend Ming Liang and Wu Kongxue confronting each other, Wu Hei, Reverend Ming Shan, Reverend Lan Bing, and the other experts all become extremely nervous. They watch without blinking. You two are fighting each other. Release my empress first. A voice containing anger rises. The speaker is an elder of the Inua Palace. Not only him, but other experts of the Inua Palace were also nervous and worried. The number one person in the Inua Palace is Dame Lian Yu. The Inua Palace was unable to contend against the enemy in terms of super experts, which was unacceptable to the Inua Palace. However, at the moment Dame Lian Yu's yuanying is in Reverend Ming Liang's hands. Given his power, how could he possibly care about those nobodies of the Inua Palace? Wu Kongxue and Reverend Ming Liang look at each other. The others don't even dare to breathe loudly. Dame Lian Yu's life is in the hands of Reverend Ming Liang. A blood-red mist starts to spread around Wu Kongshue's body. A terrifying bloody aura immediately covers the entire misty hall. This is the legendary invincible Devil King Wu Kongxue. The energy in Reverend Ming Liang's body was highly condensed. At the edge of his body, there seemed to be specks of light twinkling. Let's go. Reverend Ming Liang's voice suddenly rang out. Reverend Ming Shan and Reverend Lan Bing couldn't help but be startled. However, they quickly came to their senses and hurriedly followed Reverend Ming Liang as they broke through the air and flew away. As for Dame Lian Yu's yuanying, it is thrown to the ground. Dame Lian Yu's body flashes. Who? The spiritual energy of heaven and earth surges and gathers. A figure appears. The body of an itinerant immortal only needed to expend energy to condense. Wukong Shui. That Reverend Ming Liang was so arrogant as to barge directly into our territory. How can you let him leave so casually? Wu Hei says with a cold humph. Wukong Shui takes a look at Wu Hei and says coldly, "Oh, could it be you want Lian Yu to be killed?" After saying that, Wukong Shui immediately walked towards the main hall of the Misty Hall. Dame Lian Yu's face was pale. Even though she had taken some pills, her power was still greatly damaged. Big brother Wu Hei. Dame Lian Yu shook her head at Wu Hei, indicating that he should stop talking. Right then, a fiery light shot over at an extremely fast speed and landed in the Misty Palace's area. This person had red eyebrows, a round face, and extremely small eyes. It was the #1 expert of the Yanma sect, Fire Demon. In fact, Fire Devil and Wukong Shui had rushed back from the chaotic astral ocean together. Only Wukong Shui was worried that something would happen, so he rushed to the Misty Hall first. In the main hall of the Misty Palace, unexpectedly, Wukong Shui was not sitting on the main seat. He was only sitting on one of the chairs in the main hall with his eyes closed. The Fire Demon also sat beside him. Dame Lian Yu directly sat on the main seat. Everyone. Dame Lian Yu sweeps her eyes over everyone below. Her gaze pauses for a moment on Wukong Shui. That Ming Liang directly broke into our Misty Hall. Luckily, Senior Wukong Shui arrived in the end and saved the heaven sundering diagram. But now, with Senior Wukong Shui here, I believe that those Xiaxianists definitely won't dare to come to our Misty Hall again. Dame Lian Yu is resolute. The other loose devil experts also nod their heads in agreement. With Wukong Shui here, Ming Liang would not have come unless there was something wrong with his head. Even though this heaven sundering diagram has been saved, there are a total of 3 diagrams. One is with the Dragon Clan and one is with Qin Yu of the Stellar Tower. It's very difficult to get the Dragon Clan's diagram. As for Qin Yu of the Stellar Tower, even though there's a loose immortal expert behind him, now we also have Senior Wukong Shui here. As long as Senior Wukong Shui gets involved. Haha. Wukong Shui suddenly laughs. Dame Lian Yu cannot help but stop talking. Everyone at the scene looks at Wukong Shui. They also do not know why he is laughing. Fire Devil instead rebukes Dame Lian Yu angrily. Lian Yu, Brother Wu came here because of my invitation. How could he be ordered by you at will? Moreover, don't you know how formidable that expert behind the Stellar Tower is? Even the Xiaxianists suffered losses. How could that expert be easy to deal with? This Yanma school was originally on par with the Inua Palace, but because the Inua Palace obtained the heaven sundering diagram and was recognized by the Devil Emperor of the Devil World, its status immediately rose above the Yanma school. As the #1 expert of the Yanma school, Fire Devil naturally dislikes Dame Lian Yu. Fire Devil. Wukong Shui reaches out his hand to stop Fire Devil. Ming Liang himself didn't even get into action to test how formidable that Stellar Tower expert is before he retreated. Him retreating doesn't mean I'm afraid of that expert. Lian Yu, you arranged this operation. I want to see what kind of divine being that mysterious expert is. Wukong Shui's eyes glitter. His aura even spreads out involuntarily. For a moment, everyone at the scene holds their breaths, as if they have seen a bloody storm. Good. Senior Wukong Shui's words are enough. How can us Xiaxianists be as cowardly as the Xiaxianists? Dame Lian Yu says excitedly. She immediately starts to arrange the plan to fight for that heaven sundering diagram of the Stellar Tower. Senior brother, why did you let Lian Yu go just now? Given our power, even if we killed Lian Yu, I believe it wouldn't have been hard for us to escape unscathed. On the way back, Reverend Ming Shan asks his senior brother. Reverend Ming Liang says with an indifferent smile. There are many reasons. Killing Lian Yu or not doesn't affect us much. Isn't it just an 11th tribulation loose devil? Moreover, the matter isn't as simple as you think. Do you think Wukong Shui and Wu Hei's motives for helping the Xiaxianists this time are really so pure? Haha. Moreover, given Lian Yu's temperament, she won't be satisfied with just one ink painting. They'll definitely covet the other one. With Wukong Shui's help, Lian Yu's courage will definitely increase greatly. Maybe she'll even go to the Stellar Tower. I just want to let them feel the power of that mysterious expert. The smile on Reverend Ming Liang's face is still so calm. Reverend Ming Liang. Reverend Lan Bing suddenly asks, "Are you really sure that the expert behind the Stellar Tower can resist Wu Kongxue and the others? If Wu Kongxue and the others really obtain that inkwash painting, we'll be in a bad situation." Reverend Ming Liang slowly lets out a breath. If my guess is correct, it's basically impossible for them to get the ink painting from that mysterious expert of the Stellar Tower. Reverend Ming Liang's guess is correct. Those people won't be able to get the ink painting from Uncle Lan. However, Reverend Ming Liang does not know that Uncle Lan has already left. That ink painting is also not in Uncle Lan's hands. It is not even in the hands of Qin Yu. Instead, it is in the hands of a dynasty's emperor Qin Zheng, who has not even reached the Jin Dan stage. But we can't have any accidents. Given my mysterious technique, once I hide my aura, even Wu Kongxue won't necessarily be able to detect me. I'll follow them alone. You and the others will follow behind me. Once they get the ink painting, we'll be the Oriole. Reverend Ming Liang's Stellar Point Art is an extremely mysterious immortal secret book. His entire body's energy is extremely condensed. Not only is his attack like this, his aura is also like this. When his aura is condensed and restrained, given his power, experts at the same level as him will really find it difficult to detect him. Ever since this confrontation, the Xiamoists and Xiaxianists have been minding their own business and living in harmony. The Xiamoists use the Yinhua Palace as their headquarters, while the Xiaxianists use the Qingshu Temple as their headquarters. As time goes by, various schools' legendary loose practitioners have rushed back from the chaotic astral ocean. The number of experts in both camps has also begun to increase. Naturally, the Yinhua Palace's plan has also begun to be carried out. On the Devil Peng Island in the chaotic astral ocean. Last time Qin Yu communicated with his two brothers. Afterwards, Ho Fei and Kuro decided to rush to the chaotic astral ocean to meet up with Qin Yu. Qin Yu also decided to leave the Devil Peng Island to reunite with his brothers. At the moment, Qin Yu is saying goodbye to the three masters of the Devil Peng Island and Lian Chong. Little brother Qin Yu, this is my Devil Peng Island's Devil Peng command card. It still has some prestige in the chaotic astral ocean. If you see some blind people coming to make things difficult for you, you only need to take out this Devil Peng command card. I believe not many people will make things difficult for you. Zhong Ju passes a black command card to Qin Yu. Devil Peng command card? Having this Devil Peng command card in the chaotic astral ocean is almost like having an extra protective talisman. Even though Qin Yu is not afraid of ordinary loose practitioners due to his power, the less trouble the better. Thank you, Senior Zhong. Qin Yu receives this Devil Peng command card. Little brother Qin Yu, you've used the eternal creation pill to save my son. Even though you've taken the reward, you've already taken the reward. Even though you took the reward, it was only a piece of low-grade elemental holy rock. My husband and I won't say much. If you see some blind people, just send us a message. We'll rush over immediately and kill them for you directly. In this mortal world, apart from that dragon clan's leader, there are only a few people who can stop us. Lian Xiao says solemnly to Qin Yu. Hu Yi is a 12th tribulation loose devil, and an expert of the devil path. Only Wu Kongxue and a few other people can contend against her alone, plus her husband Lian Xiao. Even though Lian Xiao is somewhat weak, once the two of them start a formation, their power can even complement each other. When the two of them join forces, they are so powerful that even Wu Kongxue and the others do not dare to contend against them. This is also the reason why the two of them are called the twin Azura devils. Chong-er, take us to see little brother Qin Yu off. Hui says to her son. Yes, mother. Lian Chong then looks at Qin Yu. Let's go, brother Qin Yu. Qin Yu and Lian Chong fly out of the Devil Peng Island. Flying towards the northeast, Qin Yu and Lian Chong talk to each other. Even though the two of them have not known each other for a long time, they have formed deep feelings for each other. However, at this moment, hi brother Lian Chong. A voice comes from afar. Immediately afterwards, A figure in a fluttering white robe appears in front of Qin Yu and Lian Chong. This newcomer has a kind of wanton and unrestrained temperament. Xiaoyao, it's you? A hint of joy appears on Lian Chong's face. Brother Qin Yu, let me introduce you. This is the disciple of the master of the drifting cloud island, Xiaoyao. Xiaoyao is very easy to get along with. Xiaoyao, this is. Xiaoyao says smilingly. Needless to say, I already know that this is your good brother Qin Yu. Even though I'm on the drifting cloud island, I've also heard that you have a good brother, who even saved your life. Hello, brother Qin Yu. I'm Xiaoyao. What I like most is to roam the world freely and make good friends. From now on, you're also my good friend, Xiaoyao says enthusiastically to Qin Yu. As soon as Qin Yu hears this, he figures out some information about the person in front of him. Roam the world and make good friends? This Xiaoyao should have a lot of friends in the chaotic astral ocean. Judging from his temperament, he shouldn't be that kind of insidious person. Qin Yu also accepts this person's good intentions. Qin Yu looks at Lian Chong. Brother Lian Chong, you've already escorted me so far. There's no need to go any further. Lian Chong is startled. He immediately pats Qin Yu's shoulder and says, Good brother, I know you're anxious to reunite with your two brothers, so I won't stop you. It's just that if you have time later, you must come to the Devil Pung Island and have a good reunion with me. Certainly, Qin Yu says with a nod. Brother Qin Yu, you're leaving? Xiaoyao says in surprise. Qin Yu immediately says, Brother Xiaoyao, my two brothers have just passed the 9 from 9th heaven tribulation, so I want to reunite with them. Naturally I have to leave. We've just met and you want to leave? This. Xiaoyao appears to be somewhat helpless. Forget it. Brother Qin Yu, let's leave a holy sense imprint on each other's transmitter. If anything happens, we can contact each other through the transmitter. Qin Yu nods and takes out his transmitter. The waves of the chaotic astral ocean cover the sky. Qin Yu is riding the black Qilin extremely fast towards the northeast. He knows that at this moment, Ho Fei and Kuro are rushing towards him. Fei and Xiao He have already passed the 9 from 9th heaven tribulation, so they can transform into human form. I wonder what Fei and Xiao He look like now. Qin Yu thinks to himself. Qin Yu is still unable to use the teleportation technique, so he can only ride the black Qilin to fly. After flying for nearly half a month, Qin Yu arrives at a cold place. Of course, Qin Yu doesn't care about the cold at all. What is his cultivation base? The middle stage of the Dujia stage. I've finally reached the middle stage of the Dujia stage. Qin Yu has a trace of a smile on his face. During this period of flying, the solar core in his body is constantly refining and purifying, finally reaching the middle stage of the crossing calamity stage. Now, the solar core in Qin Yu's body is much larger than before, occupying almost a third of the planet's volume in his dantian. As he continues to fly, it's so cold. Qin Yu can't help but shiver. What level has Qin Yu's body reached? Even Dashang's stage divine beasts may not be able to catch up with him. Now his body actually feels cold. That cold is imaginable. Master, there seems to be a powerful expert here. The black Qilin says to Qin Yu. Qin Yu also has a solemn expression. I also feel that powerful aura. It seems that there is more than one person. At this moment, Qin Yu is highly concentrated, carefully paying attention to everything around him. If it doesn't affect him, he doesn't want to fight with others. Chapter 237. The extremely cold air has frozen the seawater within several li of it. Gusts of white cold air are floating around. Qin Yu knows very well that the chaotic astral ocean is very vast. The moment Qin Yu arrives, the hidden expert blocks the ice area on Qin Yu's way. Obviously, the expert hiding in the dark should be aiming at him. Little Ink, you fly a bit further away. The enemy should be very strong. No matter how strong he is, I'm sure I can protect myself. You'll only drag me down if you stay here. Qin Yu immediately says to the Ink Qilin through his holy sense. Master, in the chaotic astral ocean, few people dare not to give face to the Devil Pung Island. If you run into danger, you only need to take out the Devil Pung token. I believe the enemy won't dare to provoke you then. The ink Qilin advises kindly. Qin Yu gives an indifferent smile. Taking out the devil pung token, when encountering such a trivial matter, is really too cowardly. You retreat far away first. Qin Yu orders. The ink Qilin also knows what's good for him. Yes, master. Master, you also have to be careful. Immediately, the ink Qilin flies several hundred li away, and watches this place from a distance. Bang! The frozen ice surface explodes and a figure appears. With a sturdy body and messy silver hair like an afro, he looks like a lion. The white battle armor accentuated the man's perfect muscles. His eyes, however, are staring at Qin Yu with an ice-cold and calm gaze. Well, a Zionist who hasn't even reached the Deshang stage can actually break into the depths of the chaotic astral ocean. It seems you should have a lot of treasures on you. The man with the lion-like hair says smilingly. When Qin Yu first started to hunt ferocious beasts, he was still at the border of the chaotic astral ocean. However, he ran to the Devil Pung Island with Lian Chong. Even though he has been flying for more than half a month now, he is still in the core area of the chaotic astral ocean. Without some strength, it is impossible to reach such a deep place. Being able to reach here safely before reaching the Deshang stage, it is normal for this man to judge that he has treasures. Why are you asking this? Qin Yu asks in reply with an indifferent smile. The three of us like treasures, so we're going to snatch them. The big man with the lion hairstyle grinned, revealing his snow-white teeth. 3 sounds of wind breaking could be heard as 3 hidden weapons shot towards Qin Yu from 3 different directions, at an extremely fast speed. One of the concealed weapons was shot from the hands of the burly man in front of him, and the other 2 should have been shot by his other 2 brothers. An afterimage, Qin Yu possessed a body that surpassed that of a divine beast at the Deshang stage. Coupled with the power of the stars, Qin Yu possessed a terrifying speed. Several afterimages flashed, and Qin Yu stood still. There was some blood on his face and chest. So fast. Qin Yu narrowed his eyes. If it wasn't for his strong recovery ability, he would have been seriously injured by now. Those 3 concealed weapons were much faster than ordinary flying swords. At the same time, their attack power was also terrifying. Qin Yu suspected that it was comparable to his middle-grade immortal artifact. Middle-grade immortal artifact? How is that possible? Even 10th Tribulation loose immortals don't have a middle-grade immortal artifact. I estimate that this burly man is only at the Deshang stage. Qin Yu could sense the aura of the burly man in front of him. But how can those weapons be so powerful? My body is so tough, but I simply couldn't resist that astonishing penetrating power. Strong penetrating power, fast speed, shockingly agile. These were the weapons of the 3 mysterious men. You're really something. You were actually able to resist the joint attack of the 3 of us. That burly man laughed. Unfortunately, that was just a warm-up. Now I'll let you know what it means to be an inescapable net. Qin Yu's eyes lit up. You didn't use your full strength, so how could I use my full strength? Qin Yu was not afraid at all. Haha, you're really brave to say such big words. Although the 3 of us are only at the Deshang stage, when we join forces, even an 8th Tribulation loose cultivator is no match for us, let alone a little Dujia stage Zionist like you. That burly man said confidently. Qin Yu's heart jumped. You're a divine beast? Smart. The burly man said with a nod. A divine beast at the Deshang stage, even a low-level one, is comparable to a 5th Tribulation loose cultivator. This burly man's strength alone is comparable to a 5th or 6th Tribulation loose cultivator. If the 3 brothers join forces, they are comparable to a 7th Tribulation loose cultivator. Coupled with the fortuitous encounters of the 3 brothers, even an 8th Tribulation loose cultivator would be finished if he ran into them. This is also the reason why the 3 brothers have been able to move unhindered in the chaotic astral ocean and still live comfortably until now. Second brother, third brother, let's go. The burly man said indifferently. This time Qin Yu saw it clearly. Those are 3 alls similar to the tip of a sword, which are constantly rotating and attacking. That terrifying penetrating power of the tip even tears the air apart. No wonder even Qin Yu's body was unable to resist those 3 hidden weapons. Curve, straight line, circle. In the beginning, The 3 hidden weapons were not fast, but in just a short while, the 3 hidden weapons' speed reached an astonishing level. The air seems to have been moved. For a moment, Qin Yu's entire body turns into more than 10 afterimages, dodging unceasingly. No matter how fast a person's speed is, he will not be able to match the speed of these 3 special hidden weapons. These 3 hidden weapons were obtained by the 3 brothers by fortuitous encounter. Their speed is even comparable to Qin Yu's middle-grade immortal sword. Even if Qin Yu's reaction is fast, he will still be stabbed from time to time. Qin Yu can only try his best to avoid the vital parts. As long as it is not a vital part, with Qin Yu's recovery ability, he will be able to completely recover in the blink of an eye. If I did not have such amazing recovery ability, I would have been killed long ago. With these 3 hidden weapons working together, even a Deshang stage divine beast would be killed in an instant. For the first time, Qin Yu feels a bit of a headache. At the same time, his body is still dodging extremely fast. Qin Yu has a headache. The 3 divine beasts have an even bigger headache. Big brother, although the sword Tipal is only a low-grade immortal weapon, its power should be comparable to a middle-grade immortal weapon when we use it. Why can't we injure this Dujia stage kid? A voice rises in the mind of the burly man. Big brother, I saw with my own eyes that this kid was injured. Why is he still unscathed? Another voice rises. The burly man ponders and says, as far as I can see, this kid has a treasure on him. It has a powerful life force, and can quickly recover from injuries. Moreover, his speed is so fast. I guess it is because of his mysterious technique. A treasure with recovery ability? The second brother and the third brother are shocked. Of course, they understood the significance of such a treasure. With this treasure, the possibility of being killed is almost reduced to the minimum. For a moment, the 3 brothers are tempted by this treasure. Set up the formation. The burly man clenches his teeth and says with his holy sense, Mysterious Ice Realm? The second brother and the third brother ask almost simultaneously. Right, this time we can't care so much. The burly man's eyes flash with a hint of cold light. Good. If we can get that treasure, even if we consume more than half of our power, what's the big deal? The second brother also agrees. When the 3 brothers use their unique skill, they will consume a lot of power. In the chaotic astral ocean, if it is not particularly dangerous, very few people will consume more than half of their power. After all, this kind of situation is very dangerous. However, for the sake of Qin Yu's treasure, with amazing recovery ability, the 3 brothers have made up their minds. What's going on? Qin Yu's figure stops. Because the 3 hidden weapons have flown back to the hands of the 3 burly men. At this moment, the other 2 burly men who were hiding also come out. These 2 burly men have almost the same face as the first one. Whether it is the silver lion's head hairstyle, or the white armor on their body. The 3 brothers surround Qin Yu in 3 different directions. Kid, this will be the second time we 3 brothers have used the mysterious Ice Realm formation after reaching the Deshang stage. Last time, the target was an 8th Tribulation Loose Cultivator. In the end, he died and we were not harmed at all. The eldest brother of the 3 brothers says with a faint smile. Consider it our respect for you. I'll also let you know when you die. My name is Shi Xian. That is my second brother Bing. That is my third brother Zhan. The eldest brother Shi Xian introduces to Qin Yu. Before you die, you should also tell us your name, so that we can know the name of a genius like you. Genius. In the eyes of the 3 godly beasts, Qin Yu certainly deserves this title. Under the attack of the 3 sword blade alls, ordinary 6th Tribulation Loose immortals cannot resist, but Qin Yu is not harmed at all. A kid who has not reached the Deshang stage withstood it so naturally he is a genius. My name is Qin Yu. The reason I'm telling you my name is because I've decided to take the 3 of you as my spiritual beasts, and the other 2 brothers' mounts. Qin Yu suddenly bursts into laughter. At the moment he is thinking about what the 3 godly beasts' true forms look like. The 3 Shi brothers' faces turn cold in an instant. Spiritual beasts? There is a hint of a sneer on the corners of Shi Xian's mouth. You want to catch us as your spiritual beasts? I think you're dreaming. Whether it's a dream or not, we'll know after we fight. Qin Yu has a look of having a card up his sleeve. Shur-Xian's true form is a godly beast extreme ice lion. Extreme ice lions and fire rock lions belong to the same level. However, most fire rock lions are naturally violent and warlike. Extreme ice lions are warlike but very calm. Seeing Qin Yu so calm, Shur-Xian becomes cautious. You said you still have 2 brothers. Where are they now? Shur-Xinfa asks. Since Qin Yu has such strength, his 2 brothers should not be too weak. If the 3 Qin Yu brothers join forces, can the 3 godly beast brothers resist them? Don't worry, don't be afraid. My 2 brothers are still some distance away from here. It will probably take a long time for them to arrive. Qin Yu says with a smile. Xiao He and Fei started their journey before Qin Yu. It will probably take some time for them to meet. Shur-Xian's heart calms down a little. Extreme Ice Realm, set up the formation. Shur-Xian coldly shouts, and his voice is heard by Qin Yu. Qin Yu immediately becomes cautious, carefully paying attention to the surroundings. Other people's formations are very complicated, but the formation of these 3 godly beasts is very strange, and at the same time too simple. Shur-Xian and his brothers raise their heads and roar. Their roars resounds through the heaven and earth. At the same time, blue and white rays of light shoot out from the 3 Shur brothers' bodies. Those blue and white rays of light unceasingly flow up. In just a moment, a huge sphere is formed, and the boundary is full of blue and white cold currents. Mysterious and complex seal symbols circulate on the smooth and round boundary, and a terrifying aura is emitted from the boundary. This large formation seems to have completely surrounded this area, forming a unique domain. The temperature inside this domain is terrifyingly low. It's so cold. Qin Yu's whole body shivers. His eyes brighten as he carefully looks at this so-called extreme ice realm. Shur-Xian, Shur-Bing, and Shur-Zhan are standing inside the extreme ice realm with an expression of enjoyment. They are originally extreme ice lions, and the environment of the extreme ice realm is their favorite. In such an environment, together with the abstruse eyeballs in their bodies, their attacking power can reach twice as high as usual. You 3 definitely can't set up this formation. Qin Yu says to the 3 Shur brothers in front of him with certainty. With a simple observation, one can find out how powerful this extreme ice realm is. Such a cold environment, those profound seal symbols, and that extremely terrifying aura. Qin Yu simply cannot believe that a Desheng godly beast can set it up. Smart. Shur-Xian says with a smile. This formation is carried by the abstruse eyeballs. We 3 brothers once found a treasure land in the chaotic astral ocean, and obtained the sword blade all, and the 3 abstruse eyeballs. After swallowing the abstruse eyeballs, we only need to slightly activate them to form the extreme ice realm formation. The 3 Shur brothers only consumed their power to activate the formation. As for maintaining the extreme ice realm, that is the energy of the abstruse eyeballs. Just activating the formation consumes a lot of their power. I forgot to tell you that the abstruse eyeballs can not only set up the extreme ice realm, but also give us the extreme ice armor. With your strength, you simply can't break our defense. In addition, in this environment, our attacking power is multiplied, and your power is reduced. You will definitely die. Shur-Xian says confidently. At the same time, his body flashes, and he turns into a huge lion that is 15 to 16 meters long and 2 to 3 meters tall. This lion has a single horn on its head and snow-white hair all over its body. It is the godly beast Extreme Ice Lion. A blue and white light shines from the Extreme Ice Lion's abdomen. Immediately, the blue and white light forms a hard silver armor on the Extreme Ice Lion's body. Completely white, the Extreme Ice Lion looks so noble. Abstruse eyeballs. It seems to be the treasure emitting the blue and white light from the mythical beast's abdomen. The white armor formed by the abstruse eyeballs. Is it really that strong? Qin Yu simply does not believe that he cannot break the opponent's defense. At the same time, extreme ice lions also appear in the other 2 directions. Chapter 238. The talisman markings on the border of the mysterious ice realm are constantly moving. Strands of white fog-like matter float in the mysterious ice realm. As soon as Qinyu's body comes into contact with those white fog-like matter, the part of his body that comes into contact with the white fog-like matter seems to be frozen and numb. Roar! With a lion roar, the extreme ice lion Shirexan pounces at Qinyu like lightning. At the same time, the white fog-like matter around the extreme ice lion's body becomes very dense. Qinyu moves his body and immediately avoids it. It can be so cold. Even though he avoids the extreme ice lion's attack, the white fog-like matter emitted by the extreme ice lion's body completely invades Qinyu's body. Qinyu's body can't help but tremble. At the same time, the energy of the sun nucleus in his dantian immediately runs through his whole body. The numbness is immediately dispelled. Suddenly a strong wind blows. Qinyu's body immediately avoids it, but he still feels a burst of pain. A 3-inch-long wound appears on Qinyu's back, but it heals in just a short while. In just the blink of an eye. Haha boy, you really have a treasure. The eyes of the 3 extreme ice lions brighten. Such a recovery ability is really too frightening. The extreme ice lions don't believe that anyone has such a strong body recovery ability. Perhaps even a super divine beast is not so powerful. Therefore, the 3 extreme ice lions firmly believe that the Zionist in front of them must have an extraordinary natural treasure. The treasure is ours. Second brother, third brother, don't hide it. The eldest extreme ice lion Shirexan says loudly. Yes, big brother. Bing and Zhan are also extremely excited. Qinyu, on the other hand, stood in the center without moving. The 3 extreme ice lions open their mouths at the same time. The 3 sword blade alls fly out extremely fast, constantly rotating. At the same time, the 3 extreme ice lions also reach the limit of their speed. Like 3 heavy meteorites, they constantly dash around in the mysterious ice realm. The 3 sword blade alls and the 3 meteorite-like divine beasts keep attacking Qinyu in this way in the mysterious ice realm. Is the defense really that strong? Qinyu's body turns into a rainbow and directly rushes towards an extreme ice lion. He didn't dodge at all, and the extreme ice lion Zhan also didn't dodge at all. He couldn't wait for this to happen. Force met force with force. One was a small meteorite, and the other was a large meteorite. In the violent collision, Qinyu felt his internal organs shake violently. His body flew out involuntarily, and a line of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. At the same time, the 3 sword-edge alls and the other 2 extreme ice lions immediately attacked. With a roll of his body, Qinyu continuously escapes from 2 extreme ice lions' sharp claws and a sword blade all. As for the other 2 sword blade alls, one pierces through his thigh, and the other grazes his face. In just a short while, Qinyu's injuries were all healed. I don't believe that your defense is that strong. Qinyu turns into a rainbow light again, still crashing towards the extreme ice lion. Courting death. The extreme ice lion Bing isn't afraid at all. Like a heavy meteorite, it fiercely collides with Qinyu. However, at this moment, an angry roar of pain is heard. Big brother, third brother, this kid has an immortal weapon. Bloodstains appear on the extreme ice lion Bing's body. Part of its white armor has been pierced, but a bluish-white light flickers inside the extreme ice lion's body. The white armor is recovering at a visible speed, and in a short while, it becomes a complete armor. The 3 extreme ice lions look at Qinyu with even more fervent eyes. Kid, you really have a lot of treasures. Not only do you have a spiritual treasure with amazing recovery power, but you also have an immortal weapon with amazing attack power. It actually broke our extreme ice armor and hurt my second brother. Shirexan says smilingly. Qinyu frowns. At this point, Shirexan is still smiling. Obviously, he still has something up his sleeve. Moreover, the defense of the opponent's extreme ice armor is really strong, perhaps comparable to an immortal weapon. Most importantly, even if he tries his best to break the extreme ice armor, the mystic eyeball inside the extreme ice lion will automatically repair itself. At this moment, Qinyu finally feels a headache. Kid, don't think that because you have a spiritual treasure with amazing recovery power, we can't do anything to you. Shirexan says with a faint smile. Seal characters and symbols begin to float out from the abdomens of the 3 extreme ice lions. Each seal character and symbol emits a strange light. These seal characters and symbols are very similar to the ones on the boundary of the extreme ice realm. As the seal characters and symbols float into the boundary of the extreme ice realm, suddenly all the seal characters and symbols shine brightly. At the same time, the density of the white mist in the extreme ice realm increases greatly, almost filling the entire extreme ice realm. Numbness. The white mist is really too cold. Once it invades Qin Yu's body, the parts it invades are immediately frozen and numb. Qin Yu's star power has just offset the invading white mist, but even more white mist wraps around Qin Yu's body. Puchi. A sword edge all pierces Qin Yu's abdomen. Originally, Qin Yu could dodge it, but because his body is too numb, his speed naturally decreases. The sword edge all is too fast, so Qin Yu can't dodge it. Haha. Kid die. The extreme ice lion Shirexion's sharp claws directly grabs Qin Yu's head. Qin Yu has no doubt about the sharpness of the claws. Generally, the sharpness of the claws and teeth of the divine beasts increases with the increase of their power. The teeth and claws of the extreme ice lions are probably close to immortal weapons. The three brothers Shirexion, Shizhan and Shibing attack Qin Yu one after another. The shadows of the sword edge all are constantly flashing. You should be satisfied. Qin Yu's calm voice rises in the extreme ice realm. From the beginning until now, Qin Yu hasn't killed them. That's because Qin Yu has long regarded these three extreme ice lions as his spiritual beasts. So he also wants to see how powerful his future spiritual beasts are. Now it seems that it's really surprising. Qin Yu is floating in the middle. Hearing Qin Yu's words, the three extreme ice lions can't help being startled. Kid, don't talk big. I really don't believe that a little self-cultivator like you, who hasn't even reached the Deshang stage, can do anything to us. Shirexion doesn't care at all. Really? Qin Yu smiles faintly. At the same time, his body turns into a purple fireball. The Lord of Black Flame's ring, Heavenly Fire Field. Qin Yu doesn't know how much flame energy is stored in the Lord of Black Flame's ring. But Qin Yu knows one thing. With his current strength, it's simply impossible for him to display the true power of the Lord of Black Flame's ring. Under the cover of the Heavenly Fire Field, the white mist of the extreme ice realm can't affect Qin Yu at all. In terms of speed, Qin Yu is not as fast as the sword edge all. But compared with the extreme ice lion, Qin Yu's speed is still faster. So Qin Yu's purple fireball hits the extreme ice lion Shizhan. Surrounded by the heavenly fire, the extreme ice realm can't affect Qin Yu at all. On the contrary, when the heavenly fire touches the extreme ice lion feels extremely uncomfortable. Even with the defense of the extreme ice armor, the heavenly fire still reduces his attack power sharply. Aren't you very strong? Qin Yu sneers. The heavenly fire around him expands a lot in an instant, almost covering the whole extreme ice lion's body. On the surface of the extreme ice lion's body, not only its body, but also its head, eyes, and tail are completely protected by a layer of white armor. The mystic eyeball is really amazing. It can condense the extreme ice armor, and it can condense anywhere, and it won't even affect the extreme ice lion's attack. The heavenly fire touches the extreme ice armor. One is extremely hot, the other is extremely cold. They melt each other. At this moment, Qin Yu's fists are covered with the heavenly fire. Qin Yu's fists are like phantoms, smashing heavily on the extreme ice lion's face. At this moment, the other two extreme ice lions seem to be stunned by the heavenly fire on the surface of Qin Yu's body. When Qin Yu starts to hit Shizhan, the other two extreme ice lions, Shirexion and Shibing, come to their senses. They immediately roar and attack Qin Yu at the same time. Between Qin Yu and Shizhan, Qin Yu is not affected by the extreme ice realm because of the heavenly fire. But because the extreme ice lion is covered by the heavenly fire, the extreme ice realm doesn't have any effect at all. Instead, its attack power decreases. With Qin Yu's strong body, it's not difficult to deal with a divine beast at the Deshang stage. In the blink of an eye, Shizhan is knocked out by hundreds of heavy punches. Okay, first one. Qin Yu waved his hand, and a black rope directly tied up the extreme ice lion. Then Qin Yu directly threw the extreme ice lion into the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. Qingyu is the owner of the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. Of course, he can put others in at will. Of course, the premise is that they don't resist. At this moment, the extreme ice lion Shizhan is dizzy from hundreds of heavy punches and tied up. How can he resist? In the Qingyu Immortal Mansion, even a golden immortal would have to listen to Qingyu's orders. Where's my third brother? Shi Bing and Shi Xian roared almost at the same time. They saw with their own eyes that their third brother disappeared so abruptly. It's really unbelievable. Your third brother? Qingyu had a startled expression. Soon after, he started to laugh. I'm waiting for you all at a very wonderful place. Qingyu rushed to one of the extreme ice lions again. This time, his target is Shi Bing, the Lord of Black Flame's ring, Heavenly Fire Domain. When the Heavenly Fire touched his body, although Shi Bing is protected by the extreme ice armor, he still feels impatient. Extreme ice lions hate fire the most. The same move. Heavy punches. Shi Bing also saw that his third brother was knocked out, and then tied up by this move. Therefore, he crazily attacked Qingyu with his sharp claws. Attack. Qingyu couldn't ask for more. The sharp claws hurt him, but they healed in the blink of an eye. But Shi Bing's injuries are getting worse and worse. Go away. The eldest extreme ice lion, Shi Xian, rushed up. At this moment, Qingyu turned He Yuan into a rope, and was about to tie Shi Bing up. Noticing that the extreme ice lion Shi Xian is rushing at him, Qingyu just smiled. The Lord of Black Flame's ring, Gravity Domain. Shi Xian, who had just rushed over, seemed to be suddenly hit by a big mountain. His whole body suddenly sank down. Naturally, he didn't attack Qingyu. Qingyu leisurely tied up Shi Bing, and directly threw him into the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. You're the only one left. Qingyu looked at Shi Xian and smiled. Chapter 239. What did you do to my second brother and third brother? Did you kill them? If you killed them, where are their bodies? Tell me, where did you take them? At this moment, Shi Xian is extremely furious. He has already turned into his human form. The three brothers were born of the same parents. They cultivated together, and survived together in the chaotic astral ocean. The three brothers were lucky enough to pass the 9th heaven tribulation, and reach the Deshang stage. They thought that ascension was not far away. However, at this time, they met a Zionist who pretended to be a pig to eat the tiger. A Zionist who hasn't even reached the Deshang stage completely defeated the three brothers. The three brothers are also divine beasts. Moreover, they have a low-grade immortal weapon, the sword edge all, and a natural spiritual treasure, the mystic eyeball. However, they were still defeated by a Zionist who hasn't even reached the Deshang stage. Your second brother and third brother? Oh, don't worry. They didn't die. Qingyu says leisurely at this moment. Since Shi Bing and Shizhan were thrown into the Qingyu Immortal Mansion by Qingyu, the mysterious ice realm has gradually begun to melt, because it is no longer maintained by the mystic eyeball. The white mist also slowly disappears. With only Shi Xian left, Qingyu will definitely capture him easily. Not dead, then where are they? Shi Xian asks anxiously. It's very simple. You surrender and I'll send you to see them. Qingyu says with a faint smile. Shi Xian's face turns cold. Zionist, do you think I'm stupid? Not resisting and waiting to be captured? You said that you didn't kill my two brothers. Is it true? Who knows if you're lying to me? Shi Xian, do I still need to lie to you? Qingyu asks back. Shi Xian is startled, recalling Qingyu's power. A Zionist who hasn't even reached the Deshang stage can control the heavenly fire that even sky immortals are afraid of. If the three divine beasts didn't have the mystic eyeball, they could condense the mysterious ice armor. Perhaps the heavenly fire alone would have been enough to kill the three of them. Not only the heavenly fire, but also the spiritual treasure with amazing recovery effect, and the immortal weapon that once broke the defense of the mysterious ice armor, and that sudden pressure at the end. All of this makes Shi Xian feel that the Zionist in front of him is so mysterious. Not to mention other things, just the fact that he could control the heavenly fire, and had a body that could be said to be immortal, with a speed that far exceeded his own. Shi Xian had no way of escaping. Of course, this so-called immortal body was built on the foundation of not attacking the soul. If it was an expert like Zhongju, most likely, Qin Yu didn't even have the time to dodge before Qin Yu's head exploded, and Qin Yu's soul was destroyed. At that time, no matter how amazing his recovery ability was, it would be useless. If one's soul was destroyed, he would definitely die. However, Sure Xian did not have the ability to instantly destroy Qin Yu's soul. Yes, you don't need to lie to me. The three of us joined hands, plus the mysterious ice realm, and you took 2 of my brothers. Now, I don't have the mysterious ice realm, and I don't have any brothers to help me. I can't even escape. Sure Xian smiled bitterly. Alright, I promise you. Sure Xian looked at Qin Yu. I hope you won't lie to me, and let me see my 2 younger brothers. Don't worry, of course I won't lie to you. Qin Yu waved his hand, and a black rope automatically lengthened, directly binding Sure Xian tightly. After all, this He Yuan was a superb spiritual weapon, and it was ever-changing. Even with Sure Xian's strength, it was impossible for him to break it. Moreover, this rope had many loops. Even if he desperately broke one loop, there would be more loops, and the He Yuan could make more loops. Sure Xian did not resist, letting Qin Yu tie him up with the rope. Go see your 2 brothers. With a thought, Qin Yu also throws Sure Xian into the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. The 3 mythological beasts were taken into the Qingyu Immortal Mansion by Qin Yu. Naturally, the original ice area began to dissipate. Gradually, the condensed water surface was broken by the water pressure, and the area returned to its original appearance of monstrous waves. Qin Yu had a trace of a smile on his face. He was indeed very happy at the moment. At the beginning, he had obtained 4 spiritual beast collars in the treasure pavilion. One of them had been taken into the Ink Kylan, and there were still 3 spiritual beast collars left. Now he could give them to the 3 extreme ice lions. Master. The Ink Kylan quickly flew to Qin Yu's side. Master, has the enemy been dealt with? Yes, Qin Yu said with a smile. Ink Kylan, let's go into the Immortal Mansion. When he had taken the Ink Kylan, he had also taken it into the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. Therefore, the Ink Kylan still knew about the existence of the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. Qin Yu was the master of the Qingyu Immortal Mansion, so he could let others enter the mansion. However, if he wanted to enter the Qingyu Immortal Mansion himself, he had to take it out and put it somewhere. Only then could he enter it. If he kept it in his body, he could not enter it himself. This Qingyu Immortal Mansion was very mysterious. Its size could change, just like a spiritual weapon or an immortal weapon. However, to some extent, this Qingyu Immortal Mansion could indeed be regarded as an immortal weapon. It was just that the materials used to make it were too amazing. He shrunk the Qingyu Immortal Mansion and put it in a corner at the bottom of the sea. At the same time, he controlled the illusion restriction to make the Qingyu Immortal Mansion look like a reef. Qin Yu's body turned into a wisp of blue smoke and directly entered the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. As for the Ink Kylan, Qin Yu had already sent it in before the Qingyu Immortal Mansion was taken out. In the garden of the Qingyu Immortal Mansion, Qin Yu was sitting on a chair made of elemental holy rock, looking at the 3 stupefied extreme ice lions in front of him. The Ink Kylan was also laughing mischievously on the side. Of course, the Ink Kylan knew what the 3 extreme ice lions were thinking at the moment. When he first came in, he was also frightened by this immortal mansion, which was made of elemental holy rock. Even the total amount of elemental holy rock in the Devil Pung Island's mines could not compare to the amount of elemental holy rock in this immortal mansion. Not to mention that this immortal mansion was made of a whole, huge piece of elemental holy rock. The 3 brothers Sure Xian, Sure Bing and Sure Zhan looked at each other, their eyes full of astonishment. They have seen elemental holy rock before. That was when they killed an 8th Tribulation Luz practitioner and got a piece of elemental holy rock, a low-grade one at that. These 3 extreme ice lions, who have lived in the chaotic astral ocean for a long time, knew very well how precious elemental holy rock is in the chaotic astral ocean. Good heavens, how come there are so many elemental holy rock here? The 3 Sure brothers were completely shocked. On the side, Qin Yu was not in a hurry. He just drank the immortal dew spring water. On the Qianlong continent, some people from the countryside went to the capital and other big cities. Most of their expressions were similar to the three Shi brothers. They were all so shocked and in disbelief. The three of you. Qin Yu spoke. The three Shi brothers woke up. The eldest Shi Xian said first. In the mysterious ice realm, you already surprised us three brothers very much. I didn't expect that what you showed was still not all of you. This immortal mansion. Where did you get so many elemental holy rock? No, every part of this place is like a whole. It should be, it can't be. Shi Xian immediately crouched on the ground and carefully observed. A piece, could it be that the whole immortal mansion is made of a huge piece of elemental holy rock? Shi Xian just felt dizzy. This was really too amazing. Shi Bing and Shi Zhan were also very shocked. Such a huge piece of elemental holy rock. Where is it? No, how can there be such a huge piece of elemental holy rock? This is elemental holy ore. It's just that the quality of this elemental holy ore is very good. You can hardly see any impurities. Qin Yu said with a smile. The three Shi brothers were Deshang stage divine beasts after all. After a while they calmed down. What did you catch us for? Shi Zhan was the first to roar. Qin Yu was surprised. He seemed to have told them the reason. Shi Xian glared at Shi Zhan, who was the least calm of the three brothers. Then he said to Qin Yu, I know what you want to do, but as a divine beast, first of all, I have no freedom. Second, I really can't accept that a divine beast like me has to become a human's mount. Mount? You can't kill me. Shi Zhan also roared. That Shi Bing didn't finish his words, but his eyes showed that he had the same idea as his two brothers. Qin Yu smiled bitterly. It's really hard to make divine beasts into mounts. I've already conquered them with force. But Qin Yu felt very helpless in his heart. When he first accepted the ink Qilin as a divine beast, he made an agreement to let it regain its freedom after Qin Yu ascended. He only asked the ink Qilin to protect Qin Yu's family. That's why the ink Qilin was willing to be Qin Yu's mount. It's really hard to subdue the three divine beasts in front of him. You really don't want to? Qin Yu asked again. But this time, there was no smile on Qin Yu's face. He looked a lot colder. The three extreme ice lions shook their heads firmly. Divine beasts are nobler than humans. It's impossible for us to be a human's mount. Shi Zhan said proudly. In the eyes of divine beasts, they were nobler than humans. Of course, in the eyes of humans, divine beasts were demonic beasts with too much talent. Although they were terrifyingly strong, deep down, they thought that humans were the wisest of all things. Even if you kill us, it's impossible, Shi Xian also said. Unyielding in the face of death, the ink Qilin said to Qin Yu, Master, it's really hard to make divine beasts into mounts, unless you can make them think that you're nobler than them from the bottom of their hearts. Only then will they be willing to be your mounts. Although you've conquered them with your strength, it's very difficult for them to think that you're nobler than them. Looking at the three divine beasts' eyes, Qin Yu knew that it was useless to say anything more. Well, since you're not willing, you can stay in a separate courtyard in the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. But your range of activity is limited to that courtyard. With an intention, Qin Yu brought the three great divine beasts into a courtyard house. The entire Qingyu Immortal Mansion was covered with restrictions. Anything could be transported to any part of the mansion. Of course, the premise was that the other party couldn't resist the restrictions. If an immortal emperor were to come, given Qin Yu's strength, he would probably be able to break the restrictions directly. But it's simply impossible for these three extreme ice lions to break the restrictions set up by immortal Emperor Anyang. After letting the three extreme ice lions stay in the Qingyu Immortal Mansion, Qin Yu also left the ink Qilin in the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. Riding on a middle-grade immortal weapon, he rushed towards the northeast at the fastest speed possible. Time flies. In the blink of an eye, a month has passed. Qin Yu, who has reached the middle Dujia stage, relied on his current body and a middle-grade immortal sword. His flying speed has reached an extremely astonishing level, tens of times faster than when he was in the early core stage. Big brother, where are you now? Mixed hairy bird. and I have just flown past Blackgrass Island. Ho Fei sent a message to Qin Yu through his transmitter. Qin Yu swept it with his spiritual sense. Recalling the map of the chaotic astral ocean, he was overjoyed. Fei Xiaohei, I'm about to reach Green-Robed Ancestors Island. We should meet again in a day. Qin Yu was very excited at the moment. Since that day when he went to the chaotic astral ocean to explore the Nine Swords Immortal Mansion with Li Er, he never saw Xiaohei and Fei. Big brother, after crossing the 9 from 9th heaven tribulation, mixed hairy bird, and I can completely change into human form. Do you know what our human form looks like? Hee. It's not the same as our original appearance. Ho Fei said to Qin Yu through sound transmission. Qin Yu was also guessing. After crossing the 9 from 9th heaven tribulation, divine beasts can have a human form. This human form is not an illusion, but a real human form. This human form is the appearance of divine beasts. Of course, they can change their appearance, but the most basic appearance is still that of a human form. After a day, Qin Yu were rushing at top speed. They often used their transmitters to know each other's route. Therefore, Qin Yu's spiritual sense was the first to discover his two brothers. In just a short while after Qin Yu's holy sense discovers them, Ho Fei and He Yu arrive in front of him. Just by relying on their aura, Qin Yu could tell who the two were. Ho Fei was wearing a green battle armor. He often had a smile on his face, and his eyes were squinted from smiling. His whole body was slightly thin, looking like a 20-year-old youth. Kuro, wearing a black battle armor, covered with feather-like scales. His body was slightly thin, like a 15 or 16-year-old youth, but there was a trace of coldness on his body. Haha, big brother, my human form is very handsome, isn't it? The mixed hairy bird's human form is unexpectedly like a youth who hasn't grown up yet. Look, red lips and white teeth, tisk tsk. Ho Fei said with a laugh. Kuro frowned, taking a look at Ho Fei. Two words popped out of his mouth. Shut up. Immediately, Kuro looked at Qin Yu, his eyes filled with unconcealable excitement. After all, the two brothers had been separated for a long time. Big brother. Kuro only said two words. Qin Yu was very excited at the moment. Good, it's really very good. Qin Yu suddenly thought of his own Qin Yu Immortal Mansion. His two brothers had not seen it yet, so he immediately said, Fei Xiaohei, I obtained an immortal mansion in the Nine Swords Immortal Mansion. I'll show you around. After saying that, Qin Yu pulled his two brothers into the chaotic astral ocean. Chapter 240. Clouds and mist drifted in the Qin Yu Immortal Mansion. In the garden of the East Courtyard, Qin Yu and his two brothers were gathered here. Qin Yu was talking about where he got this Qin Yu Immortal Mansion, and some of its characteristics. Big brother, this is the immortal mansion you got? Ho Fei opened his eyes wide, looking at the perfectly round Qin Yu Immortal Mansion, with a face full of disbelief. Xiaohei at the side also had a face full of shock. Oh, big brother. I didn't expect that Nine Swords Immortal Mansion to have so many treasures. If I had known earlier, I would have gone to rob it. Ho Fei seemed slightly disappointed, and Kuro at the side had a callous look. Obviously, he didn't care about what Ho Fei said at all. Kuro looked at Qin Yu and said, Big brother, what did you encounter in the Nine Swords Immortal Mansion? Can you tell us? Immediately Ho Fei also looked at Qin Yu. Okay, then I'll tell you in detail. That day, after talking for almost an hour, Qin Yu finally completely talked about what he encountered in the Nine Swords Immortal Mansion, as well as the fights and schemes between the various experts. Enayang Realm? Big brother, the Nine Swords Immortal Mansion already has so many treasures. The Enayang Realm must have even more things. Big brother, don't you have a map? Us three brothers will join hands to rob it, and bring it all back. How about it? Ho Fei said excitedly. Kuro said coldly, Go, do you want to die? What did you say? Ho Fei immediately got angry. Monkey, didn't you hear what Big Brother said? Even the Nine Swords Immortal Mansion is so dangerous. The Enayang Realm is 10,000 times more precious than the Nine Swords Immortal Mansion. The danger must also be who knows how many times higher. And Big Brother said that only with at least the strength of a Deshang stage Xiuxianist, can you reach the lowest threshold to enter the Yang realm? Kuro said coldly. Hofei said confidently, mixed hair bird. Now that we are in the late stage of tribulation passing stage, we can easily deal with Deshang stage cultivators. It can be easily dealt with, but that is only the lowest threshold to enter Yang's realm. I don't think that those who have just reached the lowest threshold to enter Yang's realm would be able to obtain many treasures. Being able to preserve one's life would already be considered not bad. Kuro always attacked Hofei. Hofei was so angry that he was speechless. Qinyu says with a smile, all right. Xiaohei's words made a lot of sense. I had also thought about it carefully. The words that Immortal Emperor Yang left for me in the Lord of Black Flames ring only meant that I had to at least attain the strength of a Deshang stage immortal cultivator to be able to enter Yang's realm. However, that was merely the test to enter Yang's realm. Presumably, there were even more dangerous tests in Yang's realm. Perhaps the strength of a Deshang stage cultivator was still not enough. Moreover, I think it's impossible for a super immortal emperor's lair to not have some terrifyingly powerful restrictions. Therefore, we'd better go in together with some experts. We'll wait for those 12th tribulation loose immortals and loose devils to charge at the front while we'll be at the back. If we can get treasures, we'll get them. If we can't, it doesn't mean anything. After all, our current strength is still shallow. Having the Qingyu Immortal Mansion can actually be considered very extraordinary. Qingyu knew himself very well. After all, he wasn't even a celestial immortal or celestial devil. In the immortal world, experts who could possess an immortal mansion, like the Qingyu Immortal Mansion, were generally experts who had reached the profound immortal level. Even if they couldn't catch up to Immortal Emperor Yang, they would at least be level 1 profound immortals. Hofei pondered for a moment, then also nodded. What Big Brother said makes sense. That Yang's realm is definitely very dangerous. Let those 12th tribulation loose immortals charge at the front. Haha, we'll take advantage of them at the back. Hofei began to laugh strangely. Fei Xiaohei. At that time Uncle Lon took you to a mysterious place to undergo special training. It's only been a few years, but you've already passed the 9 from 9th heaven tribulation. Tell me, what kind of mysterious place could be so formidable? Qingyu had always been very curious about this. At that time, they had only reached the Dongxi stage, but now they've unexpectedly directly surpassed the Kongming stage, and even passed the 9 from 9th heaven tribulation to reach the late stage of the Dujia stage. If they were ordinary Ziontists, they would need at least several thousand years. But they only had about 2 years. Their power can be improved rapidly, but can their soul cultivation also be improved so quickly? Hofei and Kuro also frown. Big Brother, to tell you the truth, we also don't know where that place is. Kuro says. Seeing the expressions of Hofei and Kuro, Qingyu understands that his 2 brothers really don't know where that place is. At that time, Uncle Lon took us and directly teleported. After the teleportation, we arrived at a mysterious place, a place we've never heard of. The spiritual energy there is 100 times richer than the outside world. We cultivated there for more than 100 years, until we reached the middle stage of the Dujia stage. Then Uncle Lon took us away from there, and put us on a small island in the sea controlled by the Stellar Pavilion, so that we could wait for our tribulation. After the tribulation, we came directly from the island to find you. Hofei says carefully. More than 100 years? Qingyu finds it hard to believe. When I entered the 9 Swords Immortal Mansion, you went with Uncle Lon. How long has it been? Even now it's only been 2 years. Qingyu simply can't figure it out. Hofei and Kuro look at each other, their eyes full of helplessness. We also don't know. We also have doubts in our hearts. However, since we left that mysterious place, we never saw Uncle Lon again. Uncle Lon also seems to have disappeared from the world. On that island, we waited for the heavenly tribulation. After the 9 from 9th heaven tribulation, we came to find you. Listening to Hofei and Kuro's narration, Qingyu has doubts in his heart. There is a mysterious place where the spiritual energy is 100 times richer than other places. Moreover, One can cultivate in that place for more than 100 years, but Qinyu has only spent 1 or 2 years there. In the end, Qinyu, Hofei and Kuro still don't know where that mysterious place is. Qinyu and the others only judge that the time of that mysterious place is different from the outside world, and the spiritual energy is also different. They estimate that it is a special secret place. Mount Spirit Beast? Haha, big brother, you can't subdue them? Humph, I'll do it. After hearing Qinyu talk about spirit beasts and spirit beast collars, Hofei volunteered to subdue those 3 extreme ice lions. Well, let's see what you can do. Qinyu's mind moves, and the 3 extreme ice lions directly move from the courtyard to the front of Qinyu and his brothers. After seeing these 3 extreme ice lions, Hofei and Kuro can't help but smile at each other. How long have you been cultivating? Kuro says indifferently. The 3 brothers Shi-Xian, Shi-Bing and Shi-Zhan immediately feel the faint pressure on Kuro and Hofei's body. That is the pressure unique to high-level spirit beasts. Spirit beasts are very arrogant. They are arrogant to low-level spirit beasts, but they are instinctively afraid of high-level spirit beasts. More than 30,000 years. Shi-Xian answers first. Qinyu is slightly surprised that it took them so long to reach the Dashang stage. Extreme ice lions. The techniques you've been cultivating should be the most common and basic ones. No wonder you've been cultivating so slowly even with spirit treasures. Hofei says indifferently. Right, extreme ice lions are mid-level spirit beasts. They don't have hereditary memories. The eyes of the 3 extreme ice lions brighten. They know very well that high-level spirit beasts and super spirit beasts all have hereditary memories. Hereditary memories contain countless techniques and secret methods, which can be regarded as a huge treasure. This is also the reason why high-level spirit beasts and super spirit beasts far surpass mid-level and low-level spirit beasts. The monkey and I are of a higher level than you. You should feel it. In short, if you become our spirit beast mounts, the monkey and I can pass on a powerful cultivation technique to you. If you don't, you can imagine the consequences. Kuro says in an icy voice. Hofei also looks at the 3 extreme ice lions and says with a sigh, these 3 extreme ice lions are really lucky. We're willing. Of course we're willing. Shi-Xian and his brothers say hurriedly. There is a strict hierarchy among spirit beasts. They have also sensed the level of spirit beasts Hofei and Kuro, which is definitely higher than theirs. They naturally have no complaints if they become Hofei and Kuro as mounts. Moreover, they can also obtain techniques and secret methods from the other party. Hereditary memories are a huge treasure. There are so many techniques and secret methods that it's frightening. Not only do they belong to their clan, there are also many other techniques. Any one of them is much better than what the extreme ice lions are cultivating. Well, how about this? The eldest of the 3 extreme ice lions will be my big brother's spirit beast mount. The second brother will be my spirit beast mount. And the third brother will be the spirit beast mount of the mixed hairy bird. Hofei says directly, Big brother? You recognize a human as your big brother? Shi-Zhan is the first to exclaim. Spirit beasts are arrogant, not to mention spirit beasts with hereditary memories. They are even more arrogant. To make 2 spirit beasts with hereditary memories recognize a human as their big brother is probably hard to come by in a million years. What, do you have a problem? Hofei's eyes flash with a cold light. Kuro's eyes also flash with a trace of killing intent. Qinyu is the closest person to Kuro. These 3 extreme ice lions look down on his big brother. How can Kuro not be angry? No problem, of course not. It's just that we didn't expect him to be your spirit beast. If we had known, we wouldn't have resisted. What Shi-Xian said is true. Even 2 spirit beasts with hereditary memories recognize a human as their big brother. What's the big deal about them being mounts? Middle-grade spirit beasts, high-grade spirit beasts. Although it's only 1 level, the difference in status is unknown. After all, this 1 level means that high-grade spirit beasts have hereditary memories, but they don't. A few days later, Qinyu, Hofei, and Kuro are each riding an extreme ice lion, leisurely riding the wind and breaking the waves towards the northeast. Qinyu is wearing a black armor made by He Yuan. He is riding an extreme ice lion, Shi-Xian. which is snow white and covered by a layer of extreme ice armor. His mount is white while Qin Yu's is black. It's really distinctive. Hou Fei is wearing the water elemental armor, which was automatically refined by Hou Fei when he reached the passing calamity stage. It's the special armor of a spirit beast, the fire-eyed water ape. His mount, the extreme ice lion Shibing, is also wearing the extreme ice armor. Kuro is wearing the black scale armor, which was naturally formed by the extremely hard feathers on his body after he reached the passing calamity stage. His mount, the extreme ice lion Shizhan, similar to Qin Yu, the master is wearing a black armor and the mount is snow white. The three brothers are talking and laughing along the way, rushing through the wind and breaking the waves. Big brother, what's the matter? Hou Fei immediately asks when he sees Qin Yu frown. At this moment, Qin Yu is holding a transmitter. He has just received a message from the manager of the Stellar Tower, Ye Zhong, and learned of something that has made him very worried. Devil Path experts attacked the Stellar Tower not long ago. All the members of the Stellar Tower are holed up inside, relying only on the great heavenly cycle stellar formation for defense. Fortunately, the formation has been modified by Uncle Lon and is very powerful. Those loose devil experts couldn't do anything to the Stellar Tower and finally left. Qin Yu says slowly, "It's fine if they left. Big brother, why are you still unhappy?" Something's wrong." Hou Fei also knows that something is wrong. Kuro also knows what Qin Yu is worried about. Devil Path experts mostly don't care. "I'm worried that they will go directly to the Qin dynasty and threaten my family, even though father and the others have already entered the Stellar Tower. But my second brother, his princes and princesses, and many collateral descendants of the Qin clan." Qin Yu's originally happy and relaxed mood is completely destroyed. Without thinking too much, Qin Yu immediately sends a message to the guardian who is protecting his second brother. "Guardian Yang, pass this message to my second brother right away. After a while, it is very likely that some experts will come to threaten my second brother. If they really threaten my second brother, then tell him to say directly that it was Senior Lon who told him to give that heaven-sundering diagram to the newcomer. Remember, don't fight them head-on." The loss of the heaven-sundering diagram is nothing to Qin Yu, but in any case, nothing must happen to his second brother's family. Moreover, his second brother is the emperor of the Qin dynasty after all. "Yes, Tower Master." Guardian Yang immediately responds. Qin Zheng is not powerful enough at the moment, so he cannot use his transmitter either. Therefore, he can only send a message through the guardian who is protecting him. This Guardian Yang is an expert of Qin Yu's Stellar Tower and has now reached the late Dongshu stage. Devil Path experts do whatever they want. They basically don't care about killing people. These Devil Path experts haven't suffered losses at the hands of Uncle Lon, so perhaps they won't care about Uncle Lon. "Uncle Lon isn't here right now, so I can't go back." Qin Yu becomes anxious in his heart. "I hope nothing bad will happen." Qin Yu can only hope in his heart. However, the real situation is even worse than Qin Yu thinks. Are Devil Path loose devils really the only ones who want to fight for the heaven-sundering diagram? Qin Yu simply does not know that at the moment most of the top experts of the mortal world, like Wu Kongxue, have already gathered in the capital of the Qin dynasty, on the Qianlong continent. Chapter 241. Wu Kongxue leads Fire Devil, Wu Hei and Dame Lianyu, 3 11th Tribulation Loose Devils, and nearly 20 10th Tribulation, 9th Tribulation and 8th Tribulation Loose Devils. Such a large army majestically flies out from the bottom of the ocean, then heads straight for the Qianlong continent in the north. These 20 people could be regarded as the peak strength of the demonic Tao. Any one of them could easily destroy the 3 mortal dynasties. Senior Wu Kongxue, that defensive formation of the Stellar Tower. Dame Lianyu says to Wu Kongxue with a frown. Wu Kongxue is also shocked. This time they are going to the Stellar Tower to rob Qin Yu of his treasures, but the defensive formation of the Stellar Tower is really too powerful. Even the joint attack of several experts, such as Wu Kongxue, cannot shake the great heavenly stellar formation, which has been modified by Uncle Lon. It seems the rumor is probably true. That loose practitioner behind the stellar tower is indeed very powerful. At least I've never seen anyone who can compare with him in the ability to set up formations. Wu Kongxue says solemnly. Fire Devil, Dame Lian Yu and Wu Hei all have heavy hearts. But his ability to set up formations doesn't mean his own power is very strong. Only a few people in the entire chaotic astral ocean can defeat me. Unless his true form is a super divine beast, why would I be afraid of him? Wu Kongxue is full of confidence again. The tense expressions on the faces of Dame Lian Yu and the other two relax. The more than 10 loose devil experts behind them also relax. Does being able to set up formations mean that his own power is very strong? According to our information, that Qin Yu's experience is really legendary. But there's one thing, he values his family very much. Now we can go to the Qianlong continent's Qin dynasty and directly capture his family to threaten Qin Yu into giving up the heaven-sundering diagram. Won't that work? Dame Lian Yu says crisply. This plan was set up by Dame Lian Yu. Given the power of the Devil Path experts, it is relatively easy for them to find information about Qin Yu. Even though the stellar tower is several million li away from the Qianlong continent, for these experts, it takes them less than half a day to cross this distance, and they all enter the Qianlong continent. They fly in a straight line. Their destination, the capital of the Qin dynasty. Not far behind Wu Kongxue, a faint silhouette appears. It is none other than Reverend Ming Liang. Reverend Ming Liang's star-pointing art was also a powerful cultivation technique from the immortal world. It was extremely peculiar. Once he started cultivating it, the energy in his body would become extremely pure and restrained. When he attacked, he would also gather it at a single point. Thanks to this technique, Reverend Ming Liang is now on par with Wu Kongxue. Furthermore, after cultivating this technique, ordinary experts of the same level would not be able to discover his existence. Sure enough, as I expected, that Senior Lan is indeed very powerful. Back then, even Shan Chu and the others were unable to resist that defensive formation. Now even the joint attack of Wu Kongxue and the other three can easily resist it. Humph humph, Wu Kongxue, go ahead and do whatever you want. When that Senior Lan comes out, it will be too late for you to cry. Reverend Ming Liang sneered indifferently. Then Senior Lan. Could he be an immortal who descended from the immortal realm? A golden immortal or a profound immortal? Reverend Ming Liang secretly guessed in his heart. At the same time, Reverend Ming Liang took out a transmitter. Junior brother, you lead everybody to the Qianlong continent quickly. Those Xioma experts have already arrived there. According to my estimation, they have most likely gone to the capital of the Qin dynasty to capture Qin Yu's relatives. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Reverend Ming Liang and the others want to be the oriole. But can they really be the oriole? The wilderness is divided into the outer area, the inner area and the core area. In the outer area, there are only some basic Ziyuists. In the inner area, there are only the backbone Ziyuists. Only the core area is the strongest power in the wilderness on the Qianlong continent. In this area, there are even tens of thousands of loose demons. In the core area of the wilderness, there is a huge luxurious city. There are quite a few loose demon experts living in this city. The loose demon experts who can live in this city have at least reached the 6th tribulation stage. The mansion in the center of the city is the residence of the master of the core area of the wilderness. The master of the core area is a 12th tribulation loose demon called Yu Liang. All the attendants in the mansion know that not long ago Yu Liang left the wilderness with his 3 subordinates to handle some business and returned. The master of the core area, that is the real king of the entire wilderness, Yu Liang, has had a change in temperament. He has become silent or perhaps gloomy. Yu Liang is playing with a wine cup in his hand. A shocking scene emerges in his mind. The master of the wilderness and his 3 subordinates join forces to attack. What a terrifying power this is. Yu Liang believes that even the number 1 expert of the chaotic astral ocean, Zhongju, may not necessarily be able to take it, but that seemingly kind-hearted middle-aged man easily took it. Moreover, with a wave of his hand, The 4 experts fell flat on their faces. Too strong. They are simply not on the same level. 3 11th tribulation divine beasts plus me. Even though we joined forces, we still couldn't hurt them at all. Luckily the demon emperor of the demon world was reasonable, and didn't force me. Yu Liang sighs. Yu Liang simply does not know that last time, he led his subordinates to the Stellar Tower, to seize the inkwash painting under the orders of the demon emperor of the demon world. Before that, Shan Chu and the other 3 experts of the Qingshu Temple had just attacked the Stellar Tower. When Yu Liang and the others arrived, Uncle Lan was still in the Stellar Tower. With a wave of his hand, the 4 experts fell flat on their faces. The Grand Master of the Wilderness immediately fled back in shame. No matter what, he no longer dares to have any ideas about the inkwash painting. Oh! Yu Liang turns his hand. A transmitter appears in his hand. A Xioma expert has come to the capital of the Qin dynasty? Yu Liang's eyes brighten. The one who sent him the message was one of his 3 subordinates, a divine beast called the 9-headed snake Kong Chao. Kong Chao is the number 1 expert under Yu Liang. Even though he is an 11th tribulation expert, his soul is almost the same as Yu Liang's. After failing to seize the inkwash painting, Yu Liang learned from his painful experience and ordered Kong Chao to monitor everything in the Qin dynasty. As the master of the wilderness, he does not dare to seize the inkwash painting under the pressure of Uncle Lan. But if a loose immortal or loose devil were to seize the painting, he would be able to seize it from the loose immortal or loose devil experts. If the experts of the Chaos era were to fight over the treasures from the hands of loose immortals and loose devils, that mysterious Senior Lan would most likely not be able to blame them. Kong Chao, remember, don't get into action no matter what. You must not harm anyone of the Qin clan either. As for those fellows from the Tung Long continent killing people, it has nothing to do with us. What we need to do is wait until they get the inkwash painting, then we'll seize it from them. Yu Liang immediately gives his subordinates an order. Yu Liang and the others do not have the slightest bit of courage in front of that mysterious Senior Lan. However, they are not the least bit afraid of a loose immortal from the Tung Long continent. If there is anyone in the world who can make Yu Liang shrink back, perhaps it is the Dragon Clan's clan leader, and the number 1 expert of the chaotic astral ocean, Zhongju. Yes, my lord. Kong Chao is keeping watch in the capital. Given the distance between the core area of the wilderness and the capital of the Qin dynasty, it only takes a few teleportations to reach it. There is simply no need to worry that his subordinates will not arrive in time. Qin Zheng is in the Imperial study correcting memorials. Even though Qin Yu ordered Protector Yang to tell Qin Zheng about the heaven sundering diagram, Qin Zheng is not worried at all. According to his understanding, if he gives the heaven sundering diagram to the opposite party and intimidates them a little with Uncle Lan, presumably the opposite party will not do anything to him, even if they take the heaven sundering diagram. Phew! Qin Zheng stretches his body. He has finally finished correcting the thick memorials. Fortunately, he has Qin Yu's foundation building pill, which allowed Qin Zheng, who does not have a high aptitude, to reach the Xiantian realm. As a Xiantian expert, even if he does not sleep for several days and nights, it is just a small matter. Big Brother reached the Jin Dan stage long ago, and Third Brother's cultivation level has reached an astonishing level. Only I reached the Xiantian realm because of Second Brother's foundation building pill. But there is still a long way to go. When Guaner matures, I will pass the throne to him, and then I can concentrate on practicing. Qin Zheng thinks of his own son, the current Crown Prince Qin Guan, and he is very fond of him. Qin Guan is very kind, and at the same time very flexible. He is not the kind of person who does not understand change. Qin Zheng believes that when the Qin dynasty unifies the entire Qianlong continent and hands over this great dynasty to his son, the Qin dynasty will definitely reach a peak, and even surpass the Qin dynasty of Qin Shi Huang 1,000 years ago. You are the emperor of the Qin dynasty, Qin Yu's second brother? A voice comes from the door of the imperial study. Qin Zheng is shocked and raises his head to look. In the heavily guarded imperial palace, the imperial study is even more heavily guarded. However, Now there are almost 20 people standing outside the imperial study, without waking any guards. The momentum of these 20 people is so terrifying that it makes people gasp for breath. The guards in the imperial study have cold sweat on their foreheads. It is too terrifying. The momentum alone makes these guards feel as if it is the end of the world. There is a terrifying feeling that the entire imperial palace is covered by dark clouds, and there is no way to escape. None of these guards can make a sound. Even Protector Yang, who is at the late Dongxi stage and secretly protects the emperor, is frightened. "You are," Qin Zheng utters. Luckily these experts do not use their momentum to oppress Qin Zheng. After all, they still have to ask him questions. Dame Lianyu says coldly, "You don't need to ask these questions. I only want to ask you, where did your third brother Qin Yu go?" Wu Kongxue also says, "The heaven-sundering diagram. We just want the heaven-sundering diagram. Tell me where your third brother is." This Wu Kongxue is not worried at all about the information being leaked. Given his status, why would he be afraid of letting this mortal emperor know about the heaven-sundering diagram? The heaven-sundering diagram, so it's them. Qin Zheng is certain in his mind. He has been informed by Qin Yu in advance, so naturally he has a card up his sleeve. "Seniors, I am Qin Zheng. I am the emperor of the Qin dynasty, entrusted by Senior Lan." Hearing Qin Zheng's self-introduction, Fire Devil and the others, who were about to scold him impatiently, immediately continue to listen to him when they hear the words Senior Lan. "I was entrusted by Senior Lan to give this heaven-sundering diagram to the person who came to find Qin Zheng. You must be the person Senior Lan was talking about. Senior Lan is really a divine strategist." Qin Zheng says smilingly. His words contain his respect for Uncle Lan. Wu Kongxue is startled. Dame Lianyu, Fire Devil, Wu Hei and the other 10-odd loose devils are all astonished. That mysterious Senior Lan unexpectedly gave up this heaven-sundering diagram? Not only are they surprised, Reverend Ming Liang, who has been hiding behind the wall of the imperial study, is also shocked. What's going on? Why didn't this Senior Lan come to teach these loose devils a lesson? Instead, he gave the heaven-sundering diagram to them? Reverend Ming Liang simply cannot believe it. According to his guess and that so-called sentence, "I only know the little golden pung," he speculated that this Uncle Lan was a super expert. But now it seems that everything is wrong. It doesn't matter. Who cares what's going on? Since Senior Lan said to give this heaven-sundering diagram to the person who came to find Qin Zheng, and didn't explicitly say to give it to Wu Kongxue and the others, it seems anyone can take it. Do you think I'll be lenient? Reverend Ming Liang completely restrains his aura and prepares to get into action. But at this moment, Qin Zheng has taken out the heaven-sundering diagram from his bosom. "Everybody, this is the heaven-sundering diagram Senior Lan left behind." Wu Kongxue and the others exchange a look. On the surface, the heaven-sundering diagram in Qin Zheng's hand looks very similar to the one Dame Yanji obtained. Perhaps it is real. Dame Lianyu says crisply, "Senior Lan is indeed of noble character and unquestionable integrity. He doesn't care about the location of that immortal mansion. I admire him. Then we'll take this heaven-sundering diagram. Later, when we have a chance, we'll definitely repay this great kindness." After saying these words, Dame Lianyu goes to take the heaven-sundering diagram. Wu Kongxue, Wu Hei, Fire Devil, and the other 10-odd loose devils all have excitement in their eyes. However, at this last moment, a blur appears beside Qin Zheng out of thin air. Teleportation. That blur disappears at once after grabbing the heaven-sundering diagram. However, when it is about to escape, Wu Kongxue is the first to get into action. Which of the loose devils at the scene is not an expert? When Reverend Ming Liang appeared in an instant, they came to realize that someone is trying to rob them. How can they let the heaven-sundering diagram be snatched away when they are about to get it? However, they are simply too weak to stop Reverend Ming Liang. Wu Kongxue, however, is the fastest to react. Wu Kongxue lets out a low roar. The space around him immediately shakes. Reverend Ming Liang, who originally wanted to teleport, no longer dares to do so. To teleport, One must be in a place where space is stable. Otherwise, it is very likely that one will enter a space crack and be minced to pieces. However, with only a low roar, with Wukongshui as the center, it spreads out in all directions like a ripple. The ripple is so large that it covers more than half of the imperial palace. The buildings of the imperial palace, flowers, plants, trees, rockery and strange rocks are immediately turned into fine powder. There are also palace maids, princes and imperial grandsons and imperial concubines. Their blood stains the imperial palace of the Qin dynasty red. With this as the starting point, a reign of terror has finally begun. Chapter 242. There was a huge underground secret room built under the imperial study in the imperial palace, and the Lei Mountain house that Qin Yu had left for Qin Zheng was inside. The moment Reverend Ming Liang suddenly appeared in front of Qin Zheng, Qin Zheng's first reaction was to slap the table in the imperial study. Qin Zheng's entire body fell into a tunnel beside the table, and the tunnel immediately closed. As the emperor, he naturally had to be on guard against assassination attempts. This passageway was designed for that purpose. With a slap of his hand he fell, almost at the same time as Wukongxue's roar. That figure had just landed when that spatial ripple extended to the location where Qin Zheng was just a moment ago. It was extremely thrilling. Although Qin Zheng was not considered strong, he was still a Xiantian expert. Moreover, as the emperor of a country, his mental fortitude was much stronger than the average rogue cultivator. Now that the heaven-sundering diagram had been taken away, he didn't care who had taken it, and immediately hid in the underground secret room of Lei Mountain House. Qin Zheng escaped. However, none of the nearly 20 loose devils present noticed this. All of their attention was focused on Reverend Ming Liang. Ming Liang, this heaven-sundering diagram is ours. Put it down and we'll let you go. Wukongshue's voice is loud and clear, but a terrifying energy wave is continuously shaking the area within several li of him. The surrounding space is shaking non-stop. The all-out attack of a 12th tribulation loose devil can even cause cracks to appear in the space of the mortal world. Now he only needs to make the space vibrate, so of course it's easy for him. Seeing that he could not teleport, Reverend Ming Liang did not say much. He only snorted coldly and turned into a stream of light, flying straight towards the south. Leave behind the heaven-sundering diagram. Wukongshue's loud shout resounds through the entire capital. At the same time, Wukongshu himself launches an extremely terrifying attack. Various blood-red beams of light shoot out from Wukongshue's hands and bombard the area in front of Reverend Ming Liang, trying to prevent him from escaping. At the same time, a blood-red cloud appears in the sky above the capital. Obviously at this moment Wukongshu has unleashed his strongest power. Phew? Dream on. Reverend Ming Liang had already obtained the heaven-sundering diagram, so how could he possibly hand it over submissively? Since Wukongshu is trying so hard to pin him down, it is simply impossible for him to escape. Only, how could Reverend Ming Liang be afraid of Wukongshu? He immediately waves his hand and shoots a beam of light towards Wukongshu. Clashing head-on, dodging, launching sneak attacks, bombarding Dharma treasures, throwing talismans for a moment, there are continuous explosions. What kind of power does Reverend Ming Liang and Wukongshu have? They were all super experts of the 12th tribulation. Once they fought with all their strength, how could a small capital city survive? Explosions occurred one after another, and bloody clouds filled the sky. The blood-red clouds were thick and dense, and the stench of blood was so strong that ordinary mortals would feel nauseous and fearful when they smelled it. Such thick clouds of blood covered the sky above the capital. It made everyone in the capital feel that the sky was low and the earth was high. At the same time, they also felt that the end of the world was coming. Wukongshu, divine retribution, divine retribution. A scholar ran in a panic. He accidentally stumbled and fell to the ground. On the streets of the capital, almost everyone was running for their lives. Very quickly, this scholar was trampled to death. His bones were crushed, and pale white bone fragments pierced through his flesh. It was a tragic sight. However, almost no one noticed this scene, because, Today was the end of the world. This scene was playing out in almost every place. Boom! Reverend Ming Liang dodges Wu Kongshue's attack. This attack hits the streets of the capital. Immediately, it is as if the sun is radiating rays of light. With the place of impact as the center, this attack spreads out for several hundred meters in all directions. Everything within several hundred meters is turned into fine powder. Within several li, houses also collapsed, smashing countless mortals to death. Xiaoying, come back quickly. A woman shouted anxiously, who said that wars between dynasties were the most terrifying. Even in war, mortals still had a chance to escape, or had the ability to resist and risk their lives. However, when 12th Tribulation loose devils and 12th Tribulation loose immortals fight like this, it was simply the end of the world. The mortals could only run away like crazy. They had no ability to resist at all. They could only hope that the explosion would not fall on their heads. Two silhouettes were moving extremely fast. In an instant, they had flown from the eastern suburbs of the capital to the western suburbs. Along the way, the air exploded. The two super experts were completely enraged. Neither of them was willing to back down. Wu Kongxue wanted to seize that heaven-sundering diagram at all costs. Reverend Ming Liang also wanted to protect it with his life. The capital of the Qin dynasty was moaning and wailing because of the fight between the two super experts. City walls were shattered, houses collapsed, palaces exploded, severed limbs flew everywhere, blood covered the ground, and wails were heard everywhere. It was miserable. No matter if they were commoners or nobles. In front of this absolute and irresistible power, they were all praying for God's protection, praying that the attacks of those two super experts would not fall on their surroundings. In Lei Mountain House, Qin Jing's face was full of gloom. He had 3 guardians under his command. One of them was at the middle Dongshu stage, and the other 2 were at the early Dongshu stage. As for that late Dongshu stage guardian Yang, he had already been killed by Wu Kongshue's low roar just now. He had no power to resist at all. If Qin Zheng had been just a bit slower, or if his psychological quality had been just a bit lower, perhaps he would have ended up the same way. As for the 3 guardians in Lei Mountain House, they had been living here all along. Your Majesty, I used my holy sense to investigate. With the Imperial Study as the center, about 60% of the Imperial Palace's area was completely destroyed by that roar. As for the other 40%, it also exploded during the fight between the 2 super experts. The middle Dongshu stage guardian Liang Shen said respectfully. Qin Jing's face changed color. You mean except for me everybody else in my Imperial Palace is dead? Qin Jing simply could not accept this result. Liang Shen hurriedly said, Your Majesty, not everybody is dead. In the beginning, except for you, all the people in the area covered by that super loose devil's low roar were killed. As for the other 40% of the Imperial Palace, even though it was ravaged by the energy waves of the fight between the 2 super experts, when that loose devil roared, the surviving princes, princesses, and imperial concubines all hid in secret underground rooms. Qin Zheng felt a bit relieved inwardly. But Your Majesty, this doesn't mean anything. Those 2 super loose practitioners are too powerful. Even if they were hiding underground, as long as they were within several tens meters of the attack by accident, they would still be killed by the explosion. Liang Shen said again. Qin Zheng got angry. Tell me, now how many of my princes are still alive? Liang Shen said respectfully. Originally there were 13 princes in that 40% of the Imperial Palace's area, but now, there are only 6 left. These 6 are all hiding in secret underground rooms. But without the protection of Lei Mountain House, if they were hit by the attack of those 2 super loose practitioners, they would probably lose their lives. The 2 12th Tribulation loose practitioners, even if they were underground, those within several tens of meters of them, would definitely die if they were hit randomly. Underground, those within several hundreds of meters of them would definitely die if they were hit on the ground. The buildings within several thousands of meters would collapse. Because Qin Zheng was underground, he was also protected by Lei Mountain House. Unless the 2 super loose practitioners wanted to kill him, it was impossible for their scattered attacks to blow up Lei Mountain House. 6 when this fight is over. I don't know how many will be left. Qin Zheng's heart was full of helplessness and hatred. What about the Empress and the others? Qin Zheng asked. The 3,000 imperial harems were all in the same area. According to Qin Zheng's guess, that area should have been within the attack range of that super loose practitioner's low roar at the beginning. It is very possible that all the concubines and imperial concubines have died. But Qin Zheng found it really hard to accept, so he asked Liang Shen. Liang Shen shook his head helplessly. Concubine Wan, Concubine Ling. Recalling the familiar imperial concubines, Qin Zheng felt a burst of heartache. Ah, Qin Zheng roared in a low voice. His whole body began to tremble. He clenched his fists so tightly that his fingernails pierced into his palms. Blood dripped down drop by drop. Your Majesty, there's still one imperial concubine alive. She is the 5th prince's birth mother, Concubine Gong. At the moment she and the 5th prince are hiding in the secret underground room of the 5th prince's residence. They are still alive. Liang Shen suddenly said. Qin Zheng was startled. There's still one. Qin Zheng remembered in a short while. Last night it was Concubine Gong who was there. She even said she would go to see her son today. He did not expect her to have escaped a disaster. Of course, it was still hard to say whether she could survive or not. After all, the two super loose practitioners were still crazily fighting each other. After a long time, Your Majesty, the sky above the capital has calmed down. Those expert loose practitioners seem to have all left. Liang Shen suddenly said. Reverend Ming Liang and Wu Kongxue were both extremely powerful and astonishingly fast. In just a short while, they had already gone several thousand li south. In order to prevent Reverend Ming Liang from using teleportation to escape, Wu Kongxue continuously sent out terrifying energy waves along the way. Wherever the two of them flew, all the buildings were turned into fine powder. No matter if they were mortals or Xiationists, they were all turned into pieces of flesh and blood. A bloody road. This road of killing was definitely the first time Wu Kongxue and Reverend Ming Liang had fought with their lives on the line since they reached their current level. How could the two of them care about those mortals who would be implicated? Starting from the capital of the Qin dynasty, they immediately moved south at a high speed, killing their way through. They passed through several 10 cities in total. Even though most of the cities were not as miserable as the Qin dynasty's capital, their buildings were almost completely destroyed, and at least half of their population was lost. From the Qin dynasty's capital to the Ming dynasty's Lanshan city, this several tens of thousands of li of fighting was a bloody road. The number of mortals killed or injured even reached several tens of millions. It was even more than the number of people lost in a war. Especially after several 10 cities were destroyed, the economic losses reached an astonishing level. Haha, Wu Kongxue, this time the heaven-sundering diagram will definitely belong to us. You can stop dreaming. Reverend Qi Yang, an 11th tribulation loose immortal of the Xiang school, laughs wildly. Finally, the Xiaxianists hiding in the dark finally showed up. There was Reverend Ming Liang, a 12th tribulation loose immortal, and 4 11th tribulation loose immortals, namely Reverend Ming Shan, Reverend Lan Bing, Reverend Qi Yang of the Xiang school, and Shui Yuyang of the Lanyang school. Among these 4, Shui Yuyang of the Lanyang school was the strongest. Reverend Ming Liang against Wu Kongxue, Shui Yuyang of the Lanyang school against Wu Hei, Reverend Qi Yang against Fire Devil, Reverend Lan Bing against Dame Lianyu. Reverend Ming Shan also led 10th tribulation, 9th tribulation and 10th tribulation loose immortals to fight the other 10 plus loose immortals of the opposing side. This battle between the strongest mortals of the Xiaxianists and the Xiaxianists was simply world-shaking. They fought from the capital of the Qin dynasty to the southernmost city of the Ming dynasty, Lanshan City. Afterwards, they even fought directly to the boundless ocean. In the air above the ocean, the two sides disregarded everything. A hint of ruthlessness appeared on Reverend Ming Liang's face. He raised his right hand horizontally. An extremely dazzling dot of light appeared at the tip of his index finger. That dot of light was as dazzling as the sun. At that moment, it was as if the sun's radiance was blocked by this dot of light. Wu Kongxue's face changed color. You don't even want your life anymore. Wu Kongxue knew that this move of Reverend Ming Liang's was very powerful. Only this move hurt the enemy 800 times. Reverend Ming Liang would not use it unless it was a desperate moment. Only if Wu Kongxue was not repelled, Reverend Ming Liang would simply not be able to escape. Point star sky piercer. A dot of light passed through. That dot of light seemed to have pierced a small hole in space. At the same time, this dot of light continued to shoot toward Wu Kongxue. Wherever the dot of light passed, space was completely cut open. A terrifying attractive force came from that spatial crack. Moreover, this dot of light was really too fast. Wu Kongshua's face changed color greatly. He clenched his teeth. In an instant his face turned very red. The skin on his whole body also turned very red, as if it was boiling. His whole body turned into a bloody beam of light and dodged far away. Go! Reverend Ming Liang shouted in a low voice. His body immediately flashed to a place where space was stable. Immediately, he used teleportation and disappeared. Since Reverend Ming Liang had escaped, the other loose immortals naturally did not continue to fight. All of them ran away and used teleportation to disappear. In this battle, almost all the 11th Tribulation loose immortals of the Devil Path side and the Immortal Path side suffered either light or heavy injuries. As for the 8th Tribulation, 9th Tribulation and 10th Tribulation loose immortals of both sides, quite a few experts were killed in this battle. Wu Kongxue, Dame Lianyu, Fire Devil, Wu Hei and the others all had gloomy expressions. These vile people! Fire Devil's anger soared to the heavens. Wu Kongxue said coldly. Immediately return to the Tunglong continent. No matter what, we'll definitely get back what we suffered this time. Humph Ming Liang. When had Wu Kongxue ever suffered such a big loss? The heaven-sundering diagram he was about to obtain was unexpectedly snatched away by someone else. How could he not be angry? Go! Wu Kongxue gave an order. All the loose immortals immediately used teleportation to rush back to the Golden Tree Island as fast as they could. However, after they disappeared for a while, several silhouettes appeared in the sky above the area where the battle had just taken place. The leader was none other than the controller of the core area of the wilderness, the king of the wilderness, Yu Liang. Chapter 243. His body is thin but his skin is like fine jade. His eyes are not big, but they seem to be filled with lightning. This is Yu Liang, a 12th Tribulation loose demon, the #1 expert of the wilderness. There are 3 people standing behind him. One of them is tall and thin. His eyes are as chilling as a viper's. His whole body is wrapped in a huge black robe, giving people a gloomy, dark and terrifying feeling. This person is an expert second only to Yu Liang. He is the head of the 3 huge demons under Yu Liang's command. 11th Tribulation loose demon Kong Chao, a divine beast with 9 heads. The other one is similar to Yu Liang in stature, but his muscles are streamlined and his skin is dark black like black satin. This person is one of the 3 huge demons under Yu Liang's command. 11th Tribulation loose demon Xing Shou, a divine beast with flowing lightning leopard. The last one has a resolute face. His body is wrapped in a red warrior outfit like a flame. The muscles all over his body are as hard as rocks. This is the last of the 3 huge demons under Yu Liang's command. 11th Tribulation loose demon Wu Shan, a divine beast with fiery lava lion. Loose demons are extremely powerful. Even though these 3 loose demons are all at the 11th Tribulation, they are still divine beasts. They are obviously more powerful than 11th Tribulation loose devils and 11th Tribulation loose devils. Any one of them is close to Wu Hei in power. Sir, that inkwash painting has already been taken away by Reverend Ming Liang. Now Xing Shou asks in a low voice. Wu Shan's deep voice rises. Xing Shou, those loose immortals and loose devils are much weaker than us. Why do you care so much? Let's just go straight to the Tunglong continent and rob it. Kong Chao says nothing. He only looks at Yu Liang. Yu Liang slowly nods and says softly, individual loose immortals and loose devils aren't very powerful, but Reverend Ming Liang and Wu Kongxue are exceptions. Their power is probably about the same as mine, but I'm still confident that I can overpower them. Remember, when you get to the Tonglong continent, don't be too arrogant. Individually, loose immortals and loose devils are weaker than us, but they're good at setting up formations. Once several loose immortals set up a formation together, its power will increase by several times. Yu Liang orders strictly. Hearing these words, the three huge demons under Yu Liang's command all understand. Sir Yu Liang has decided to go to the Tonglong continent. In the wilderness, most of the Zuyoists are beasts and birds. Among them, the beasts are the strongest. Zuyoists can be divided into three categories: beasts, birds, and scales. The overall strength of the primordial world was definitely not weaker than that of the dragon race. Get ready. At the same time, tell the 18 protectors to gather. This time, the 4 of us and the 18 protectors are going to the Tonglong continent. Phew! It's already been more than 3,000 years since the last time I went to the Tonglong continent. I'm really looking forward to it. A faint smile appears on the corners of Yu Liang's mouth. At the same time, the mustache at the corner of his mouth also rises. Yes, the 3 monsters bowed and accepted the order. They all understand that this time they are going to play a big game. The top powers of the loose demons of the untainted land have all set off. This is an extremely extraordinary thing. Times while the loose devils and loose immortals are fighting each other, the loose demons of the untainted land are preparing to set off for the Tonglong continent to stir up a great storm. What about the powerful dragon clan, who had been hiding in the dark and hadn't made much of a move? But the chaotic astral ocean, which is the most powerful place, is a place where loose demons, loose devils and loose immortals gather. It does not belong to any side, and has no means of communicating with the upper world. In addition, the people of the Tonglong continent, the Dragon Clan, and the Untainted Land have all concealed information about the heaven-sundering diagram, so the chaotic astral ocean does not know the secret of the heaven-sundering diagram. If the chaotic astral ocean had known about it, it would have been even more chaotic. But no matter how chaotic it is, the Qin dynasty and the Ming dynasty on the Qianlong continent have suffered an unprecedented blow. The 12th tribulation loose cultivators attacked mercilessly, destroying several tens of cities and countless towns and villages. Tens of millions of people died. For the time being, the Qin dynasty and the Ming dynasty are in a state of shock. Just the matter of settling down the remaining tens of millions of people is a big problem. The Qin dynasty is the most miserable. Among the several tens of cities destroyed, the capital of the Qin dynasty has suffered the most damage. Nearly 90% of the population has died. The remaining population is basically less than 10%. Most of these survivors have safely survived by hiding in cellars or secret underground rooms. Some of them are also hiding in some corner of the capital, where the collapse of buildings did not hit them. Luckily, they have not been affected. At the moment, Qin Zheng is living in a manor house on the outskirts of the capital. Most of the troops stationed outside the capital have survived. At the moment, the troops are dealing with the aftermath. Your Majesty, the population of the capital used to be several million. Now only about 100,000 people have survived. And this is because those 2 super experts didn't intend to destroy the city. General Wang Ji's face is also full of grief. After all, too many people have died. Wang Ji continues. But the biggest loss is, the ministers of the Qin dynasty who are qualified to attend the morning court are almost all dead. Only the assistant minister of the Ministry of Works, Li Yun, is still alive. Qin Zheng feels even more miserable. All the civil and military officials in the court are almost all dead. For a dynasty, this is definitely a very heavy blow. Luckily, the city guards, commanders and troops of the other cities have not suffered any losses. As long as the troops are fine, the country will not fall into chaos. However, how can it be so easy to select a new batch of civil and military officials? Among the princes, the 5th prince, the 8th prince and the 18th prince are still alive. Among the princesses, only Princess Mingyang is still alive. Among the imperial concubines, only concubine Gong is still alive. Less than 10% of the collateral descendants of the royal family are still alive. Only 6 of the hundreds of collateral descendants of the royal family are still alive. Wang Ji's voice sounds very sorrowful. Qin Zheng's body starts to tremble. Is there any other news? Qin Zheng's voice is flat. Wang Ji doesn't dare to speak. He can feel Qin Zheng's grief at this moment. He just shakes his head. Qin Zheng takes a deep breath. General Wang, the survivors must be settled properly. For now, the survivors in the capital must be taken care of by you. I need some peace and quiet. After a day, I will slowly take care of these things. At this moment, what Qin Zheng needed was calmness and reflection. In his current state, he can't take care of things at all. Yes, Your Majesty. Wang Ji bows and accepts the order. All right, you can leave now. Qin Zheng waves his hand and turns to enter the room. The 3 surviving princes, 1 princess and 1 concubine are all in the courtyard. Nobody dares to enter the room to disturb Qin Zheng. With a creak, the door to the room closes. The princes, princesses and concubine Gong look at each other, all worried. 5th brother, my mother, the crown prince, the 3rd brother and the other brothers, are they all dead? Princess Mingyang, who is only 13 years old, can't accept this result. Dozens of her brothers and sisters have all died. The 5th prince is the oldest of the princes. But right now he is also very depressed. In the room, Qin Zheng just stands there, looking at the portrait hanging in the center of the room. He doesn't move at all. After an indeterminate amount of time, a sorrowful but depressed voice rises. Father, there are only a few dozen people left in the huge Qin clan. Father, I've let you down. Qin Zheng kneels down heavily, his knees hitting the stone floor. But Qin Zheng doesn't notice the pain at all. Tears completely cover his face. The Qin clan, even if you don't count Qin Shi Huang, has been passed down for 1,000 years. Although there aren't many clansmen, there are nearly 1,000 of them, if you count the branch family members. Ever since the Qin clan became the imperial clan, the branch family members are also called imperial clan members. Almost all of them live in the capital. In less than a day, the capital has been turned upside down. Even if you count the imperial clan members outside, there are only a few dozen people left in the Qin clan. 95% of the Grand Imperial clan has been wiped out. As the current leader of the Qin clan, the emperor of the Qin dynasty, Qin Zheng has to bear the blame. Qin Zheng couldn't absolve himself from the blame. Although Qin Zheng couldn't be blamed, he couldn't forgive himself. After a long time, along with the sound of the door opening, Qin Zheng walks out of the room with a resolute look in his eyes. The princes and princesses outside all look at Qin Zheng. Qin Zheng says calmly, Protector Liang Shen, quickly pass on all the information here to my 3rd brother. Yes. A voice rises out of nowhere in the courtyard. Qin Yu has already placed the 3 extreme ice lions into the Qin Yu immortal mansion. At this moment he, Hou Fei and Kuro are hurrying towards the Qianlong continent at high speed. Qin Yu has a middle-grade immortal sword. Hou Fei has a strange black stick. Kuro also has a cloud-piercing spear. The material of this cloud-piercing spear is exactly the same as Hou Fei's black stick. Qin Yu once used his own immortal sword to test out the black stick and the cloud-piercing spear. The black stick and the cloud-piercing spear are extremely strange. In terms of attack power, they are even slightly weaker than Qin Yu's immortal sword. But in terms of hardness, even an immortal sword cannot leave a single mark on the black stick and the cloud-piercing spear. In terms of speed, Kuro is ranked first. Ever since he passed the 9 from 9th Heaven Tribulation, Kuro can also use a set of agility techniques. Once he uses it, his entire body will transform into an extremely sharp black ray of light. His speed is much faster than Qin Yu's. Hou Fei also has a set of agility techniques. When he uses it, his speed is comparable to Qin Yu's full speed. Hou Fei's and Kuro's agility techniques all originate from their inherited memories. The 3 of them are flying at high speed. Qin Yu is unable to smile. There is always a trace of worry on his face. Big brother, don't worry. Didn't you ask your 2nd brother to give the heaven sundering diagram to those people? I believe that once they get the inkwash painting, they will definitely not do anything to your 2nd brother. After all, your 2nd brother is only a mortal. Those loose cultivators will not lower themselves. Ho Fei advises. Kuro also knows Qin Yu's current mood. He comforts him. Don't worry, big brother. They got the inkwash painting. Plus, they have Uncle Lan's reputation. They will definitely not be impudent. Qin Yu tries his best to squeeze out a smile and smiles at his brother. If only one of them comes, I am not worried at all. But, Qin Yu worriedly said, what I am most worried about is that several parties will come and start fighting in the Qianlong continent. With the strength of loose cultivators, once they start fighting in the Qianlong continent, then mortals will not be able to resist. What if my second brother, my sisters-in-law, and nephews are accidentally affected? Qin Yu is most worried about this. But even if he is worried, it is useless. After all, his sisters-in-law are either empresses or imperial concubines. His nephews are all princes. With their status, how can they suddenly disappear and hide in the Xingchen pavilion? While worrying, Qin Yu flies for a period of time. On this day, Qin Yu is still flying at high speed. The three brothers are flying at full speed. The power consumed is simply astonishing. Qin Yu can recover quickly because of the vitality in his body, while Ho Fei and Kuro are also constantly absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to restore their strength while flying. Even so, in just a few days, the two brothers have eaten an eternal rejuvenation pill. Huh? Qin Yu is shocked. This was because he had sensed a message from his transmission talisman. He immediately took it out. Ho Fei and Kuro immediately look at Qin Yu. Qin Yu sweeps with his spiritual sense. Pavilion Master. That day the Emperor listened to your words and gave the heaven-sundering diagram to the person who came. Who would have thought that when the diagram was handed over, an expert appeared out of thin air? That person should have used teleportation. The loose cultivator was afraid that person would snatch the heaven-sundering diagram and escape, so he used a sound wave attack. With a low roar, 60% of the imperial palace was turned into powder. Seeing this, Qin Yu's face suddenly turns ugly. He can guess what level of experts those two people are. It is very likely that they are 12th tribulation experts. Once two 12th tribulation experts fight, what will the result be? And the sound wave attack mentioned just now, Qin Yu is shocked. Sound wave attacks spread from the caster to the surroundings. At that time, his second brother should not have been far away. With his strength in the primordial realm, could he have withstood the sound wave attack of a 12th tribulation individual practitioner? What about my second brother? How is he? Qin Yu hurriedly asks. Pavilion Master, the Emperor is fine. The Emperor has long set up a mechanism in the Imperial study to prevent the enemy from assassinating him. The Emperor reacted very quickly. As soon as the heaven-sundering diagram was snatched, the Emperor entered the tunnel and came to Lei Mountain House. Guardian Liangshan says through the transmitter. Qin Yu breathes a sigh of relief. It's just that the two loose cultivators are too strong. They fought crazily for the heaven-sundering diagram, destroying the capital and the imperial palace. More than 90% of the capital's population died. The concubines and princes almost all died. Among the princes, only the 5th, 8th, and 18th princes survived. Among the princesses, only Mingyang survived. There are only 6 descendants of the Qin clan left in the capital. And because of the war between the two loose cultivators, more than 10 million people died in the Qin dynasty. Qin Yu's heart instantly sinks. Qin Yu is very clear about the Qin clan. There are only a few dozen descendants of the Qin clan in other cities. Most of them live in the capital. Now there are only 6 descendants of the Qin clan left. There are only a few direct descendants of the imperial family left. At this moment, figures of people appear in Qin Yu's mind. The kind crown prince Qin Guan, the cute little princess Chun Xiao, the knowledgeable 7th prince Qin Su who is good at Go. There are also the maids in Prince Yu's mansion who take care of him, the housekeeper who often dozes off, and the most important descendants of the clan. Dead. They're all dead. Qin Yu only feels a sharp pain in his heart. More than 10 million people died. My Qin clan was nearly exterminated. Good. Qin Yu's eyes turn red. You are actually so vicious and merciless. Don't blame me for being merciless. Top-grade elemental holy ore, right? I do have one. At worst, I'll demolish the entire eastern courtyard of the Qingyu Immortal Mansion and carefully mine the elemental holy ore. At the very least, I'll be able to obtain several pieces of top-grade elemental holy ore. Qingyu's eyes flash with an ominous glint. So what if I destroy the Qingyu Immortal Mansion? After obtaining several pieces of top-grade elemental holy ore, a level 5 or 6 golden immortal can easily sweep across the entire Tunglong continent. The Qingyu Immortal Mansion is too big for me. Tunglong continent. Qinyu's eyes flash with an ominous glint. Big brother, what happened? What happened? Seeing Qinyu's red eyes, Hou Fei and Kuro became worried. Dead. They're all dead. Qinyu's voice is deep and filled with killing intent. Hou Fei and Kuro don't know the details at all, but Qinyu's expression and his words of dead, all dead, are enough for them to understand some things. My Qin clan has nearly been exterminated. Almost all of the younger generations have died. The entire imperial palace has been destroyed. Clean, it's destroyed so cleanly. You guys killed so happily. Since you guys killed so happily, I'll also make you happy. Qinyu's entire body was shivering. Hou Fei is even more irritable than Qinyu. Kill big brother. Let's go to the Tunglong continent. Kill. Hou Fei's killing intent is also faintly visible. Fei Xiaohei, speed up to the Golden Tree Island. Go directly to the Tunglong continent through the ancient teleportation formation. Qinyu says coldly. The Qin clan has almost been exterminated. Almost all of its descendants have been killed. The Qin dynasty has lost more than 10 million people. How can Qinyu let the murderer off so easily? He has the Sword Immortal Puppet for offense, and the Qingyu Immortal Mansion for defense. On the entire Tunglong continent, who can stop the red-eyed Qinyu? Let's go. The three brothers rush towards the Golden Tree Island extremely fast like beams of light. In their eyes, Reverend Ming Liang and Wu Kongxue are worthless mortals. Killing several tens of millions of them is nothing. However, they simply don't know that it is because they have no scruples. They have attracted a devil who terrifies the entire Tunglong continent. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.